Erickson and Gino Torretta. Today, Ryan Clement, the senior quarterback with a fiery nature, aims to return the Canes to national prominence and take his place among the Hurricane quarterbacking legends. Last season, Arizona State came within a rosebud of winning its first national championship, but time ran out on the impossible dream. Bruce Snyder and his Sun Devils are still battling for respect, trying to prove they are not single-season sensations. Powered by outstanding running backs and an unsung defense, Arizona State plans on remaining a permanent player among the nation's elite. It's the Arizona State Sun Devils and the Miami Hurricanes next on CBS Sports. Today marks the 400th regular season college football game that the Miami Hurricanes will host in the historic Orange Bowl. For 60 years, fans have traveled from all over South Florida to cheer the fortunes of Miami football. And with 4 national titles in 14 years, the Hurricane faithful are rarely disappointed. Today, the tradition continues in the Orange Bowl as the Sun Devils of Arizona State challenge the Miami Hurricanes. Come the Miami Hurricanes onto the field for their home opener at the Orange Bowl. Butch Davis and the Canes 1-0, a season opening victory against Baylor in Waco 2 weeks ago. And the Arizona State Sun Devils also 1-0. They opened at home 2 weeks ago with an easy victory over New Mexico State. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the season premiere of college football on CBS Sports. I'm Sean McDonough. It's great to have you with us. Each of these teams has a very simple goal for this season. For Miami, it's to get back to the very top of college football. They were 9-3 last year, but as the quarterback Ryan Clement says, that's like going 2-9 around here. Meanwhile, Arizona State trying to prove that last year's 11-1 season and Rose Bowl appearance was no fluke. They think they have the talent to be a very good team once again this season. I'm joined this year by Terry Donahue. Coach, great to be with you. Ryan Clement, the quarterback for Miami. He's the man in the spotlight as Miami tries to get back to the top.
Well, Ryan Clement hasn't had his just dues here at the University of Miami. He ranks in the top 10 in almost every passing category. He's a player who is 16-4 as a starter, has hit over 60% of his passes. Ryan Clement, the only thing he hasn't done is won the national championship. If he beats Arizona State today, he'll take a giant first step in that direction.
He's very experienced. His opposite number is not Ryan Kealy, the starting quarterback for Arizona State, will be making just his second career start today. He's a redshirt freshman. But they don't put a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks at ASU. Under Bruce Snyder, they like to run the football first.
Arizona State wants to control the clock. They have a tandem of tailbacks. First, they lead with Michael Martin. He's the power back. He goes in, wears out the defense. Then they bring in J.R. Redmond. He's the knockout punch. J.R. Redmond can start for almost anybody in the country.
They combined for 240 yards rushing against New Mexico State. Coach Snyder says they're the best tandem of tailbacks in the Pac-10. We're delighted to be joined here in Miami today on the sidelines by Michelle Tafoya. Michelle?
All right, Sean. Well, Arizona State coach Bruce Snyder also says he's got an angry team. Angry because they finished last season ranked 4th, but started this season unranked. They want to prove they're better than that, and they want to get back to the Rose Bowl. Wide receiver Lindsey Jackson has been clinging to this football. This is the very football he was clutching when he was tackled on the final play of the Rose Bowl, which the Arizona State lost to Ohio State 20-17. Defensive back Courtney Jackson gets bittersweet motivation from a picture he keeps in his dorm. The picture is of him getting beat for the touchdown that sealed the win for the Buckeyes in the Rose Bowl and dashed ASU's hopes at a national championship. As for Miami, on their drive here today, the bus carrying the defensive unit had a fender bender with its police escort, prompting defensive coordinator Bill Miller to say, guys, the bus driver gets credit for the first hit of the day. You go get the rest. Sean, Terry.
And a crowd of about 50,000 expected here at the Orange Bowl for the 400th regular season game hosted in this facility by the Hurricanes. A warm and humid afternoon in South Florida, 88 degrees with the humidity at 66%. There is a little bit of a breeze to help cool it off, and there's also the possibility of some thunderstorms later today. Arizona State won the toss and will receive. George Gaitan kicks off. End over end short kick. It comes down to Marlon Farlow, a junior, and he doesn't get far. Taken down at the 19-yard line by Jeff Popovich, who's off to quite a start this season. Last week against Baylor, he returned to fumble 72 yards for a touchdown. Ryan Kealy is the quarterback, taking over for Jake Plummer at ASU this year. He's a freshman from Phoenix, 6'2", 190 pounds. That might be a little bit generous, as we took a look at him on the practice field yesterday. Now we take a look at the rest of the backs and receivers. Martin will start, but we'll see a lot of Redmond with Jeff Polk back in the starting lineup. He sat out the opener. Kendrick Bates is the tight end. And up front, the best lineman is Gray Rugemer. Kyle Murphy, a veteran. Randy Leaphart is the center. And that is a question mark. They're still trying to put people in the right places along the offensive line. On the first handoff, it's Mike Martin up the middle for a quality gain to the 25-yard line. Eugene Ridgely, the free safety, made the stop. For Miami on defense, Denny Fortney, the best of the front. He's moved from tackle to end this year with Lawson, Lewis, and Ham, the rest of the front four. They think Lewis could be a star. Rod Mack, the middle linebacker, with Michael Smith and Jeffrey Taylor. And in the secondary, Dwayne Starks, they feel might be a first-round draft pick in the NFL. Dennis Scott, Eugene Ridgely, and Nick Ward, who will alternate at that right corner with Nate Brooks. Apparently there's a problem with the clock, and that's the reason for the stoppage in play. 8 seconds in.
Sean, we saw Arizona State come out on the opening play of the game, and once just tried to establish the run on the first play of the game. They have a toughness attitude about him. Bruce Snyder wants to make sure that those Arizona State running backs takes the pressure off of Ryan Kealy, and they want to establish that line of scrimmage each and every play.
Kealy admitted he was nervous in the opener against New Mexico State in Tempe 2 weeks ago, but Coach Snyder has a lot of faith in him. Says he's a very cool customer. Bruce doesn't think that Kealy will struggle in this atmosphere today. And Coach Snyder's a little bit upset because his team had a quality gain on first down. They're ready to get going on second down, and now whatever momentum he hoped to be building has been quieted by this clock problem. What a job he's done in those 6 seasons at ASU. Last year, the consensus National Coach of the Year.
Well, what's hard on you, too, you give your pep talk in the locker room, you fire all the players up, you come out, you know you're going to receive the ball. All of a sudden, you get the first play, and boom, now the clock stops. And it does take away that momentum, and you've got to get your engine started again.
The clock is inoperative. It'll be kept on the field till further notice.
It is a Big East officiating crew here today. And the clock will be kept on the field. Same backfield. Polk, the fullback, lined up offset in front of Martin, the tailback. 3 wideouts into the game. And whistles are stopping the play. It was a completion to Kenny Mitchell, but there were whistles before the ball was snapped. So we're having a tough time getting the season started here on CBS.
Boy, and I know that coaches and players on both sidelines are aggravated with this. You get yourself worked into the frenzy, and you want to get the game on. And as you mentioned, Ryan Kealy is a little bit nervous.
Failed to start. There was no play. No play.
Well, I guess when it's a 60-year-old facility hosting its 400th regular season game for Miami, you expect to have a few malfunctions. Butch Davis in his 3rd year, a couple of 9-3 seasons, and as we mentioned at the top of the telecast, they expect more than that here in South Florida from the Hurricanes. So finally, it'll be second down. Looked like Kealy bobbled the snap. And straight ahead went Mike Martin. He was tackled by Michael Smith. This is the 2nd meeting all time between Miami and ASU. They met in 1994 in Tempe. Miami was ranked number 5 in the nation at the time, and they throttled the Sun Devils at Sun Devil Stadium 47-10 as Arizona State committed 6 turnovers. Frank Costa threw for 295 yards in the Miami win. 3rd down and 1. J.R. Redmond now joins Martin in the backfield. They throw on 3rd and 1, looking for Redmond. Fine catch in the flat, and he has a first down. Again, it was Michael Smith who made the tackle, but great illustration of the great hands of J.R. Redmond that the coaches told us about this week.
Well, Dan Cassetto, the offensive coordinator for Arizona State, was visiting with us yesterday, and he said J.R. Redmond has as good a hands as anyone on this team. They take him from the backfield and slip him out, but they also go ahead and shift him out as a wide receiver. He is a major factor in their game plan today.
He goes back out of the lineup, and Mike Martin is in. And the handoff goes to Martin. He's dropped for a loss. Back near the 31-yard line, a loss of 2. Damian Lewis had the first hit. And as we mentioned a moment ago during the lineups, the coaches feel he has the chance to be the next great defensive tackle here at Miami, and they've had a slew of them.
Well, Miami has had 12 NFL first-round draft choices play in the defensive line, and when you look at Damian Lewis and the legacy that he's got to follow, there's some pressure. He played so well early in the year. They moved Denny Fortney, who played inside, outside this year, and Denny Fortney's the best defensive lineman on that front.
Ricky Boyer into the game at receiver, and he goes in motion for the Sun Devils on 2nd and long. Kealy tried to just dump it over the middle to Boyer coming across the middle, and the pass was too far in front of him. And it'll be 3rd down and long.
Ricky Boyer, incomplete.
There's Dan Cassetto, the offensive coordinator.
Interesting enough, Dan doesn't call the offensive plays. John Pettis, the quarterback, calls the offensive plays until they get in short yardage or goal line. Then Bruce Snyder takes over the play calling, which is interesting about the chain of command. Dan is an outstanding offensive line coach and coordinator for the Sun Devils.
And Coach Pettis, the quarterback coach, is upstairs in the press box. Miami came on a blitz. Kealy stepped away from it and then threw for a first down. Nice catch in traffic by Lindsey Jackson out at the 45-yard line. He picked up the first down by about 2 yards. Lindsey Jackson off to a great start this season. He had 6 catches in the opener against the Aggies of New Mexico State.
Lindsey Jackson is the go-to guy for Arizona State. He is the guy that Ryan Kealy will look to most of the afternoon. Lindsey Jackson combines excellent speed and hands. He has a feel for getting open into the spaces of those defenses.
And a nice feel by Kealy for the pocket as he stepped up and delivered that ball for the first down. They go to Polk, who's a punishing fullback, and he's out to the 49. Jeff Polk did not play in the season opener for an off-the-field incident. He was suspended for 1 game. Coach Snyder compares him to Daryl Moose Johnston of the Dallas Cowboys, and that's enormously high praise, obviously, for a fullback.
Sean, that play didn't look like much when it started, but when it ended, it's a positive 4-yard gain for the Sun Devils, and Jeff Polk, his return to the offense will make a major difference. Not only as a blocker, which is he's a dominant blocker, he also had the longest run from scrimmage last year for Arizona State, a 52-yarder against Oregon State.
2nd down. Sun Devils out to midfield on the opening possession. They fake the screen to the right, and wide open over the middle is Lindsey Jackson. And he's close to a first down, appears to have it in Miami territory at the 43-yard line. Well conceived and well executed play by ASU, and the junior from Milpitas, California, moves the chains for the Devils.
Well, the credit for this play has to go to Ryan Kealy, the quarterback. He did a great job. He dropped back, he faked to his right, then he threw a middle screen to Lindsey Jackson underneath all the linebacker coverage. There was a real void, but the great faking by Ryan Kealy set that play up. Really a cool play for a young player like Kealy.
Play clock shows 0, and the whistle stopped the play. The Sun Devils took too much time. So the play clock is back and working, and that time it ran out.
Offense, 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
The game clock in the stadium still is not working. It shows 15 minutes. For a while they were having trouble with the down and distance portions of the scoreboard here, but now those are functioning. It'll be 1st and 15. No score. And your guess is as good as ours as to how much time remains in the first quarter. Miami has not touched the ball yet. The pitch to Mike Martin. And he ran into a host of Miami defenders at the 45 after a gain of 3. Derek Ham and Nate Brooks.
You don't want to run sideways very often against Miami. You want to run more at him, but this drive has been very interesting by Bruce Snyder, Dan Cassetto, the offensive coordinator for Arizona State. They've come out, they've mixed their plays very well. They've mixed run and pass. They've thrown a couple screens to try and take away some of the aggression of that Miami defense.
Once again, the two tailbacks are in the game at the same time. Redmond joins Martin in the backfield on 2nd and 12. Kealy over the middle for Redmond. Nice move in traffic. He has another first down. And J.R. Redmond is all the way to the 27-yard line of Miami.
John, we talked about at the beginning of the telecast the dominance of J.R. Redmond. Here he is, a backup tailback, could start for most teams in Division I right now. This guy is a game breaker. There's no question about it, but he plays an important role behind Michael Martin, the starting tailback, and he plays that role brilliantly.
And he accepts it very well. He says, I know I'm the number 2 tailback. Mike Martin breaks down the defense and wears them out, and then I come in and kind of give him a little shake and bake. Kealy to throw under pressure and sacked. Big loss. Back to the 36-yard line. Derek Ham and Michael Lawson. Ham the first hit. Lawson came in to help finish off Kealy.
Derek Ham is at the top of the screen. He's the defensive end. He puts good heat. He comes off the block and continues to put the pass rush on Ryan Kealy. That's the kind of pressure they're going to have to put on this young redshirt freshman quarterback, because Ryan Kealy is a cool customer the way he's operated this first drive against Miami.
Ham, a junior, starting for the first time this season. He backed up Kenny Holmes the last couple of years. Holmes was a first-round draft pick in the recent NFL draft. Martin tripped up, and again it's Ham. What a great start for Derek Ham, the junior from Merritt Island, Florida. And that'll bring up 3rd down and long for Arizona State. The Devils need to make it to the 18-yard line for a first down. They're on the 33 right now. Butch Davis taking on the Sun Devils of Arizona State this afternoon. First major challenge for each team. Both teams breezed in the opener. And a timeout called by Miami. Arizona State looking at 3rd and long when we come back.
I was born active. Motor's always running, if you know what I mean. So to stop smoking, the patch was not for me. Too passive, too rigid. With Nicorette gum, I get to do something. I participate in my own survival, fight my own cravings. Nicorette and I hit them before they hit me. I was busy smoking. Now I'm busy not smoking. Works out pretty good.
Nicorette gum will help you quit smoking successfully by helping you control your cravings. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
When parked all alone with it, other cars chant, "We're not worthy." The new Nissan Altima, starting at $15,000, $17,990 with a lot of stuff.
Somewhere between steel strings and skins, there's brass. Over brass and ivory lingers a cinder gray haze. And when that ensemble comes together in perfect harmony, they make up a color called blues. One of the colors between the colors created by Canon. Canon Laser Color. Its only competition is reality.
I like being in control. With this new Dinerex, I control the cause of my dandruff every day.
New Dinerex Advanced Formula. Its medicine doesn't just treat the symptoms, it controls a leading cause of dandruff called Peel Valley.
Now that's serious control.
New Dinerex Advanced Formula.
The never-ending pasta bowl, just $6.95. Order any of our special pastas and enjoy as many free refills as you'd like. From spaghetti with meat sauce to fettuccine Alfredo with unlimited salad and breadsticks, all just $6.95 at the Olive Garden.
Nobody campaigned against landmines more effectively than Princess Diana. Nobody reported about them more effectively than Mike Wallace. 60 Minutes, Sunday.
And the look toward downtown Miami from the Orange Bowl. We are told that 8:25 remains in this first quarter. Impressive opening drive for Arizona State, but now third and long. In the flat, it's Martin with a lot of running to do. He'll get nowhere near the first down. Or will he? Yes, he will! He broke through and then fumbled right at the first down marker, and the Canes recover. Martin made a brilliant play to elude a host of tacklers at the 25. And then Eugene Ridgely knocked the ball free right at the 18 where the first down marker was located, and Rod Mack came up with the free football.
What you want to do is you want running backs to make yards after the initial contact. Dwayne Starks right there on the initial contact. The running back breaks through Michael Martin, but the ball is stripped. Arizona State has been the best team in the country at handling the ball over the last 24 games.
Remember, Mr. Pearson, once you enter the witness protection program, you'll disappear. Here's your new passport, driver's license, and keys. New house, new car. Mr. Simons.
Happy trails to you until
nice car.
Again. Yeah. Happy trails to you.
He's not gonna make it, is he?
Oh, hi, honey. Am I excited about Thursday? Of course, Thursdays are anniversary.
Of course I plan a trip.
Yeah, we're taking the Orient Express to spot in Thailand for bird watching. Love you too. Bye.
New Visa Platinum.
Did you go to Thailand?
With a world of purchase power for the unexpected, including that trip you never thought you'd take.
This was such a surprise.
Yeah.
New Visa Platinum. It's everywhere you want to be.
Back in Miami, a rare fumble by the Arizona State Sun Devils. Mike Martin coughed up the football after a great individual effort to get close to first down yardage. Time-consuming opening drive for Arizona State, but it results in no points.
Sean, I visited with Bruce Snyder about the ability of the Arizona State running backs to hang on to the ball, because what they've accomplished over the last 24 games has been incredible. And Bruce said that they do the normal running back drills, learn how to protect the ball, but basically it's become a tradition at Arizona State not to fumble.
Well, obviously it was not a rushing play, it was a pass play, but at the start of 1995 they've lost only one fumble on a rushing play. And a big hole in the first carry of the ball game. Daryl McMillan, the tailback, was tripped up by Courtney Jackson out at the 34. That's a gain of 17 on the first play from scrimmage for Miami this afternoon.
Daryl McMillan wasn't even slated to start the game today. They were going to go ahead and start Edgerrin James. Here he is on the first carry. It opens up like the Red Sea. He sees that daylight and grabs it.
McMillan injured a hamstring and a shoulder against Baylor 2 weeks ago, but there he is again, wide open along the near sideline. And pushed out of bounds by Pat Tillman in ASU territory at the 42-yard line. $22 more for Miami.
Daryl McMillan just slipped out of the backfield. Ryan Clement hit him with the ball. Perfect throw and catch, and Daryl McMillan scoots down the sideline. The tailback is your most important football player along with the quarterback on offense. What you want to do is get the ball in his hands as often as you can.
Carlo Joseph, the fullback, lined up in front of McMillan. busy man at the start, bounces off a couple of hits, applies a stiff arm, and finally is pushed out of bounds by Tillman with help from Damian Richardson. But McMillan's to the 37-yard line, a gain of 5. Fast start for the Miami offense, led by quarterback Ryan Clement, the senior from Denver, Colorado, a political science major thinking about a future in politics. Backs and receivers. James was scheduled to start, but it's been McMillan with Joseph, Benton, and Roll are the wide receivers. Dual Mateen, Sampson, Wainert, Callejas, and Blaze, the offensive line. Blaze, the best of that group. Moved it along the line. Flags are down. And it's McMillan powering for a first down. He's more of a power runner than the other tailback, James. Mitchell Friedman brought him down, but the play stands. It's another first down for Miami.
On the stop. Arizona State was offsides. Jeremy Stott, number 92. He's the player that jumps off sides, and he's drawn off sides by the inflection of the voice of Ryan Clement, the quarterback. Give Ryan Clement the credit for that little 5-yard penalty. Great job of using his snap count.
That's Phil Snow, the defensive coordinator for Arizona State. Great start for the Miami offense. Right about where Arizona State stalled on its drive. The handoff was juggled, and it's a short gain as Pat Tillman made the tackle on McMillan.
On the stop, number 92.
The front four for Arizona State: Amy, Battle, Stott, and me. The coaches think Stott is an emerging star. Stephen Trejo, Pat Tillman, and Paul Reynolds are the linebackers. And the strength of the defense, the secondary, the veteran Jason Simmons with Damian Richardson, Mitchell Friedman, and Courtney Jackson. Friedman back in action after sitting out the opener against New Mexico State for academic reasons. Roland Benton to the top of your screen. On second down, a lot of time for Clement. And his pass is high through the hands of Magic Benton near the 13-yard line. The coverage from Courtney Jackson. No score in the first quarter. If you just joined us, the stadium clock is not functioning. We're more than midway through the first quarter.
Sean, what you don't mind is that the stadium clock doesn't function. You don't want the play clock not to function when you're a coach or a quarterback.
And the play clock is functioning now. Clement running out of time, throws in a trap, incomplete, looking for the tight end Chris Jones. One of 3 tight ends who will see action today for Miami. He had a couple of defenders around him, and both ASU Sun Devils are slow to get up. Courtney Jackson and Damian Richardson are down on the turf. No score in the first quarter. We'll return to the Orange Bowl in Miami in a moment.
The Document Company, Xerox. Get ready for comedy straight from the heart.
Spending a lot of money is not the way to win a girl's heart.
So you're saying go with something cheap?
The Gregory Hines Show premieres CBS Monday.
6:03 remaining in the first quarter. There is no score. The good news is that Richardson and Jackson each walked off the field under his own power after this collision as they provided the defense on Chris Jones. And it's 4th down and 9 now for Miami. And Andy Crosland, who's the place kicker and punter for the Hurricanes, is about to attempt his second field goal of the season. He made his only try at Baylor, a 43-yarder. His career long, a 50-yarder last year against Pittsburgh. This will be a 45-yarder out of the hold of Jeff Popovich. Tony Fortney is the snapper from the left hash mark with the wind helping, and it is no good. Just a little bit wide to the left.
It was not a good snap by Denny Fortney. The ball was a little bit low. Popovich had a little trouble getting it down, and all of a sudden Crosland misses his first field goal or PAT attempt of the season. The ball just didn't get placed down quite well enough for him.
Crosland thrown into the fire last year, probably ahead of when he should have been because they didn't have anybody else. But Butch Davis thinks their kicking game is going to be 30 to 40% better this year with the improvement of Crosland. And there's Snyder doing everything he could to help that one wide. So each team moved the ball with nothing to show for it on its opening possession. Mike Martin on the run, and it's Derek Ham again having the game of his career here in the first quarter. Backup player prior to this year. He's been the dominant player on the Miami defense here in the first quarter today.
Miami's defensive line is very young, Sean. Denny Fortney, number 99, is the only real senior up in the front line of the top 8 players.
Ricky Boyer, the motion man. Kealy to throw on 2nd and long. He dumped it in the flat to J.R. Redmond. He got banged down, and the ball came out, but the officials are ruling that Redmond was down at the 36-yard line. Heavy hit put on him by Michael Lawson, and Redmond is still down. And as they check on the status of Redmond, we check in New York with Jim Nance.
All right, Sean, some early fireworks between the hedges after Orlando's Gary put Georgia in front. South Carolina drove right back. Anthony Wright across the middle, 19 yards. Zola Davis for the touchdown. They missed the extra point. Georgia's driving again. And let's send it back to the Orange Bowl to Sean and Terry.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Those of you just tuning in again, we reminded the clock is not functioning. And they're looking at the left wrist or hand of J.R. Redmond.
J.R. Redmond was really delivered a lick by Michael Lawson, 97. The ball came out clearly. Miami had a fumble in this particular case. It should be Miami ball.
And then
it's a great hit by Lawson. Form tackle, and the ball had popped loose. J.R. Redmond got hurt on the play.
5 minutes, 6 seconds, 5:06.
The referee just announced 5:06 remaining in the quarter. Normally sure-handed are the Sun Devils, but that's twice they put it on the ground. They lost one fumble and very easily could have lost that one.
Both by running backs too, Sean, which is unusual and which is something they've taken that great pride in that streak that they had going, although both of them were passes and neither one of them were running type plays. Maybe that won't violate the streak that they've got going.
That's right. It doesn't affect their stats about fumbles on running plays. 3rd down and short. And Martin is very close to a first down, but from here he does not appear to have it. Damian Lewis wrapped up Mike Martin. And it will be 4th down and a yard and a punt from ASU.
Damian Lewis, 6'2", 275 pounds. He's extremely quick. He's a redshirt freshman. And there's no question in the minds of the Miami coaching staff. Bill Miller was telling us yesterday that this guy is going to be, they don't say might be, they say he is going to be the next dominant lineman at the University of Miami.
Along the lines of Jerome Brown and Cortez Kennedy and Russell Maryland. Coach Snyder wanted a measurement, and they're almost a full yard shy.
No score in the first quarter. And Arizona State will punt for the first time into a pretty stiff breeze. Marcus Williams is the punter. He became friendly with Andy Croswell, the Miami punter, at a kicking camp this summer, which they both worked as counselors. And Dwayne Starks returned 185 yards for a touchdown last week at Baylor. Is back deep for that effort. He was named the Big East Conference Special Teams Player of the Week. Williams generally hangs them very high. They sacrifice distance for hang time. He's a senior from Tempe. Heavy rush. And they nearly got it. End over end kick. And it rolls down to the 26-yard line. Nate Brooks and Nick Ward applying some pressure on the punt. And we have a new feature this season. It'll be a weekly offering here on CBS, the Coach's Playbook.
Sean, one of the things Miami this afternoon loves to run off tackle with the power play. The onside lineman will block down, the guard will pull for the linebacker, the fullback will kick out, they'll give the ball to the tailback and let him run to daylight. It's a power off tackle play, but the tailback is given the ability to run to daylight. In that case, Edgerrin James on the first play against Baylor last week.
And on this play, it's Daryl McMillan. Number 28. All the way out to the 38-yard line. Damian Richardson made the tackle. We weren't sure how much McMillan would play today after his hamstring injury against Baylor, but he's been very effective early on, and they were still working on Jackson on the bench.
It's funny about motivation. When a player all of a sudden is told he's not going to play, then he gets an opportunity to play. It can light a fire underneath him, and that's exactly what's happened to Daryl McMillan.
1st and 10, no score in the game. Late in the first quarter, McMillan had to sidestep some traffic in the backfield, and then a nice tackle made at the 38-yard line. It was Jason Simmons, the quarterback, coming up to make the stop. He's a 3.5-year starter, the senior from Hawthorne, California, who was honorable mention All Pac-10 last season. They expect he'll earn higher honors this year.
Jason Simmons makes a lot of plays for the Sun Devils. He plays with really a big heart. He's a very competitive athlete, and as I watched their film from a year ago, this is a player that jumps out at you in the secondary.
No gain, 2nd and 10. Play action fake and a good one by Clement as a man wide open. First down on the catch by Magic Benton, out of bounds at the 43-yard line of the Sun Devils. That's a 19-yard gain. And there's a flag back at the 35-yard line. That play will come back on a holding call against Miami.
Curlin Blaze, the right tackle for Miami, number 79. I believe he was the culprit on this particular play. It all starts with protection, but you can't have your hands outside the framework of the body. Curlin Blaze right there gets a little bit loose with his hands as the pass rush comes outside. When you get your hands outside of that framework, the umpire or the referee is going to call it every time. In this case, the referee saw it. It's a good call.
And Blaze is a good tackle, preseason first team All Big East, senior from Orlando. He's already graduated in 4 years with a degree in entrepreneurship and is working toward a second business degree. Well, that's a big penalty. Instead of being in ASU territory, they backed up to their own 25, and they go back to the ground. And tough running by McMillan out to the 30 for a gain of 5, where Damian Richardson made the stop.
I'll tell you what's an interesting development to me. Here you are, you've got Edgerrin James, who might be one of the great backs in the history of the University of Miami before his career is concluded. This guy is a fantastic sophomore runner. He's slated to start. Daryl McMillan has been the starter last year, and then of course in the game against Baylor. All of a sudden McMillan comes in. He's hot right now. As a coach, you have to make a decision. When do I get Edgerrin James into the game? And it plays on your mind because you've got a hot athlete and you don't want to take away that enthusiasm and that production by a guy like McMillan. But sooner or later you better get James in the game.
And it's Curlin Blaze injured on the play, and fortunately they're helping him to his feet very quickly. And Miami is very thin in the offensive line. They really cannot afford any more injuries to their offensive linemen. They've lost junior left guard Richard Mercier for the year. He tore a couple of ligaments in his left knee in the opener 2 weeks ago against Baylor, and that's great to see Blaze running off.
Curlin Blaze actually gets injured by falling over his own man. As the play ends, he trips over Mike Wayner, the offensive center for the Hurricanes, and he's the man that actually hurt his knee on that particular case.
And as you saw, Edgerrin James has committed tailback. McMillan 7 carries for 49 yards. Late in the first quarter, no score. This is 3rd down and very long from the Miami 30. They need to reach the 48. They're going for much more than that, and that ball's too long. Intended for Magic Benton. Jason Simmons running stride for stride in coverage.
You see right there a little frustration on Ryan Clement. He didn't like the route that Magic Benton had run. One of the problems with Miami's passing game early in the season is that Magic Benton didn't work out with Ryan Clement all summer long because he was working on his academics. As a result of that, the timing and the chemistry between Clement and Magic Benton isn't what it should be.
Crosland punting with the win. Wobbly kick taken by Redmond to the 32. Look out! J.R. Redmond had only 1 or 2 men remaining to beat, and he was going to go the distance. He brought it out to the 48-yard line. A 39-yard punt, a 17-yard return, and Cliff Jackson made the tackle for Miami. Still in the first quarter and still scoreless at the Orange Bowl in Miami.
Before you do this, you got to have this and this and this. Before you dial this, you got to have this, 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 and this, and this. Before you drive, or you ride, or you float, or you fly, somebody's got to make this and this and this. And you cannot make this or this or this until you have this, 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 and this. You gotta have a lot of these, or you can't have this. And if you want to have these, you want to have this and this and this.
No matter where you are, anywhere in the world, you are never very far from a Siemens product.
So if what you need is this, 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 or this, or this,
We are Siemens.
we can do that.
Is that the right size battery for my car? It doesn't seem to fit.
Don't worry, we'll make it fit. We've been doing this a long time.
It's not going in. Just keep hitting it.
I'm not comfortable with we'll make it fit.
Why not? If it fits, it fits.
It's perfect. Good job.
Pep Boys has the right battery at the right price. 31,000 items at the guaranteed low price, tires and service too. Pep Boys, everything but gas.
This week on The Late Show, Julia, Cher, Madonna, Drew, Farrah.
Wow.
Wonderful women of The Late Show.
Kiss me.
All this week.
Back in Miami, where right tackle for Miami, Curlin Blaze, has sprained his right knee. The trainers say he will return. Meanwhile, on the Arizona State side, tailback J.R. Redmond just got a stinger in his left shoulder, and he said he didn't know how to react. It's the first time he's ever gotten a stinger, but he too should be back, guys.
It won't be the last time he gets a stinger.
1st and 10, Arizona State. Ryan Kealy hands it off to Mike Martin, and he takes the Devils into Miami territory down near the 46-yard line in the arms of Jeffrey Taylor, the strong side linebacker. Martin's a senior from Dallas, Texas, and a great comeback story. Last year, he suffered a season-ending neck injury, fractured a vertebra in his spine. In the 6th game of the season last year against UCLA, there was some question if he'd ever play again. He had a lot of tests over the summer to make sure that he isn't risking any damage by playing. He's totally cleared to play. Kealy wide open over the middle, first down. Throwing to Matt Sircone, his 3rd tight end. They play 3 tight ends, and it was Sircone, the junior from Bakersfield, California, with his first career catch for the Sun Devils. He's a junior college transfer from Bakersfield Community College.
Matt Sircone just comes right out of the formation, runs down the field and turns around, and he's wide open against Miami, trying to play a little man-to-man pass defense there. And Ryan Kealy delivers the ball. Sircone, a big, powerful tight end, makes the first down.
16-yard gain. Flags fly as they lined up for the snap. Ryan Kealy is now 7 out of 8 here in the first quarter for 82 yards.
Bruce Snyder was telling us yesterday about Ryan Kealy.
High contact, defense, 5 yards, replay first down.
Said he thought he might have a little ice water in his veins and that he didn't expect Ryan Kealy to get shook up by being here against Miami or playing in the Orange Bowl. He just thought that he'd go out and play like he did in high school or play like he does for the Sun Devils.
1st and 5. And Redmond gets them the first down. He got popped out of bounds at the 18-yard line by Dennis Scott, the strong safety, number 25, who did not play last week against Baylor. He was academically ineligible for that game.
I am really impressed with J.R. Redmond as a receiver. I know he's a great running back, but he is a talented receiver as well. I had him in a football camp at UCLA several years ago when he was a senior at Carson High School. He came over, and the minute we saw him take a play, I said, we got to give that guy a scholarship.
Very impressive young man when you talk to him. 1:15 left in the quarter on 1st and 10 from the Miami 18. It's Jeff Holt into the arms of Denny Fortney and Damian Lewis after a short game, perhaps 2 to the 16. Arizona State inside the red zone. And they reached the red zone 4 times in the opener 2 weeks ago against New Mexico State and scored on all 4 possessions with 3 TDs and a field goal. Redmond back in at tailback. 2nd and 8 at the 16 of the Hurricanes. No score late in the first quarter. Redmond and a late flag thrown in the vicinity of the offensive line, and as you might suspect, the holding call. Rod Mack made the tackle on Redmond, but the penalty will back up the Sun Devils.
Looked to me, Sean, like Victor Leyva, number 75.
Holding. Offense. 10 yards. Spotted a foul. Replay 2nd down.
The right guard might have been captured holding. He plays right guard, Victor Leyva. I think he's the culprit on this particular play, but all of a sudden he gets outside with his left hand. He takes him down. When you get behind a player like that, the umpire automatically is going to call it. You've got to keep those hands inside the framework of the body of the player you're playing over.
And some confusion for Arizona State, and a timeout called by the Sun Devils.
When you buy a new Honda 4Trax 300, 4x4, or the rugged Foreman 400, you can see something you just won't see on any other ATV. Your choice of 7.9% APR financing and no down payment, or a pair of incredible German precision optic Steiner binoculars. Now you can see why Honda ATVs are the best on earth.
Some confusion moments ago for Arizona State, so the offense in its entirety came over around Dan Cozzetto and head coach Bruce Snyder. Looked like they're having a tough time getting the right personnel on the field. And it was interesting as we watched during the commercial, Bruce Snyder was very animated on the sideline. His cool quarterback, the redshirt freshman. Kealy's just kind of standing there. Kealy looked more poised than Bruce did at the conversation at the sideline. Second down and 19 from the 27. Diving into the line, Holt. And I'm guessing that that might be the final play of the quarter. And it is.
Number 92.
So an entertaining quarter. The teams went up and down the field. The fumble hurt the first Arizona State drive, ended it in fact, and Miami missed a 45-yard field goal. End of the first quarter, the score, Arizona State nothing and Miami nothing. We'll return to the Orange Bowl after this message and a word from your local station.
The sun is rising, see it shine. A new day rising, see it shine.
It's a new day with new improved Transitions lenses. Outdoors, they get darker faster. Indoors, clearer. And Transitions lenses are thinner and more comfortable than regular glass or plastic lenses, so you feel and look better.
It's a new day.
It's a new day in eye care with Transitions lenses.
U.S. gold medalist Mia Hamm spends 90 minutes destroying her hair and 90 seconds bringing it back with Pert Plus. More than a shampoo, it conditions too. How? As you shampoo, the conditioners stay suspended. As you rinse, the conditioners go to work, giving you great hair simply. Perfect for Mia, because she wants great hair, but she'd rather be living in it than working on it. Wouldn't you? Pert Plus. Simply great hair. Simply.
The address is CBS. Welcome home.
Don't open the door. Don't turn on the lights. Don't make a wish. Wes Craven presents Wishmaster. Be careful what you wish for. Directed by Robert Kurtzman. Rated R. Starts Friday.
Hey, check it out. We got the Jumbo Jack footage.
It is so boss. Jackson, is this your foxy lady?
No, Helen is.
I work here.
Right on.
Bummer. Women's liver.
Chauvinist pig.
Whoa, mellow out. Let's fire up the beta.
That Jumbo Jack is primo.
The fresh lettuce and tomato is blowing my mind.
Just 99 cents? Now that's a happening burger.
What if I need a physical? What if we have a kid?
Kids?
What if things change?
What if I need a new heart?
What if I get a nickel stuck up my nose?
What if something happens while we're on vacation?
What if there were a healthcare organization with such innovative solutions to what you might need tomorrow that all you'd have to do is enjoy today?
What if I spontaneously combust?
What if you didn't have to worry about healthcare? Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona.
I'm John Anderson. Thanks for watching Arizona 5, CBS.
Miami trying to restate its home field advantage here at the Orange Bowl. They lost 3 times here last year. They had a 58-game winning streak in this stadium. They're trying to restore the Orange Bowl mistake here in 1997. Third down. Kealy out of the traffic to Redmond. He's short of a first down. He needed to get inside the 10. He was chopped down to the 16-yard line by Nick Ward, and the field goal unit comes on for the Sun Devils, looking for the game's first points. And as you could see, the clock is functioning here in the second quarter. 58 straight wins from 1985 through 94. That's an NCAA record. Since the start of the 94 season, 14-5 in this stadium. Robert Neese, senior place kicker. They think he's one of the best in the country. He was 2 for 2 in the opener against New Mexico State. A 34-yard try right down the middle. And a delighted Bruce Snyder and the Sun Devils have a 3-0 lead in the opening seconds of the second quarter. Let's head down to the sidelines and check in again with Michelle Tafoya.
All right, guys, well, Miami will play the rest of its year without senior wideout Jamie German, who found out on Tuesday that he will lose his eligibility for the rest of his collegiate career, which was this year, after lying to investigators about a limousine ride he took with former teammates Yatil Green and Danielle Ferguson. Now, I spoke with Jamie German. He's surprisingly upbeat. He feels he got the quote-unquote death penalty for the punishment, and he feels he's getting it on the part of all 3 players. But he did say he will remain at Miami to finish up his degree. He will also take on a student coaching position for the wide receivers as he prepares to enter the NFL draft in April. He is not at the game today. He did not want to be a distraction to his team, guys.
And Sari, that's a big story for Miami because they're not particularly deep at wide receiver. He would have been their best.
Well, no question, as a result of his being declared ineligible, they've had to play a couple freshmen as backup players, and that affects Ryan Clement. It affects the whole team. It's just too bad that the rules are such, and that a young man loses a whole year of eligibility for a ride in a limousine, if that's the extent of it. You know, you're only given limited knowledge, but it's unfortunate. I think that certainly in this particular case, I know how important senior years are for athletes. It means so much to them. This is such a serious penalty. However, the crime might have been as serious as the penalty. Who knows? I don't know all the facts.
I think it was the limo ride and the fact that he was not truthful about it when the investigation first began. But I agree with you. Ball kicked out of bounds. The ball go to the 35. Given some of the things that we've seen others in college football do that seem more serious with lesser penalties, I think the NCAA was very harsh, probably overly so, to German in this instance.
Well, it certainly appears to be a very severe penalty, and perhaps it's a message. Oftentimes, the NCAA wants to send a clear message to everybody else out there.
Well, they did. Miami down 3-0. They moved the ball. Haven't been able to score. They've missed a field goal try. Edgerrin James, a sophomore from Immokalee, Florida, out to the 40 for a gain of 5. Friends, you can follow your favorite team all season long on CBS Sportsline. We've got scores, highlights, breaking news, and all kinds of in-depth information. CBS Sportsline is your online source for stats on all 112 Division I teams. Click on and be a part of the action at cbs.sportsline.com. Second down and 5, minute and a half played. Second quarter, 3-0 Sun Devils. James trying to get to the outside and turn the corner. He has a first down. He's knocked out of bounds at the 46 by Jason Simmons. How about Michigan walloping Colorado, and your old team UCLA on the road at Texas looking for its first win, up 10-0, and Purdue ahead of Notre Dame 7-0. Clemson a late field goal will beat NC State, the first loss for the Wolfpack.
How about them Bruins? You know, you look at that game, and they had 2 very tough losses to Washington State and against the number 3 team in the country, Tennessee. They had a chance to win that game. It got away from them, but here they are down in Texas against the number 11 team with a 10-0 lead.
James with a flag down, thrown by the referee. Edgerrin James into Arizona State territory at the 49, a gain of 6, but it's coming back. A lot of holding penalties. That's the 3rd of the day.
Robert Sampson, the left guard, number 76. He's the culprit.
Holding. Offense. 10 yards. Replay first down.
Oh, I'd say
Sampson takes him down right there with a wrestling technique. And you know, a lot of times when you're coaching, you get into a state of mind where you see 3 or 4 penalties called for holding this early in the game, and you say, oh my goodness, we've got officials that are going to call holding today. But reality is, in every case, it's been a good call.
That's right.
Those linemen better figure it out sooner or later.
I was about to say, it's amazing how you can pick out the guilty party before you see the replay on all these holding penalties, but that one wasn't so hard to find. Clement throws, man open. That's back near the original start of the possession. Reggie Wayne, a true freshman, with his 2nd career catch. He's from Marrero, Louisiana. near New Orleans. That gets them back to needing about 10 yards for a first down.
It all starts with protection. When the quarterback can hit his fifth step and throw on time, all of a sudden good things happen to the offensive team. Reggie Wayne, that freshman, comes into the game as a backup and makes a big reception.
So they got the holding penalty yardage back. And now it's 2nd down and 9 at the 47 of Miami. 3-0 Arizona State, and James gets very little. A yard, and that's all. Jeremy Stott and Vince Amy, a couple of defensive linemen, combining to make the play.
Vince Amy comes crashing in from the left side, and Jeremy Stott, he is the player that Arizona State feels can be dominant. He just drives the Miami offensive lineman into the backfield. That disrupts all the rhythm of that running play. When you have defensive linemen like Jeremy Stott that can get penetration, it's hard to get the ball run up the field properly.
And movement and contact, and flags fly. It was Amy who came across the line. The question is, was there movement at the left end of the offensive line?
Dead ball. Encroachment. Contact. Defense. 5 yards. Replay 3rd down.
See, Sean, this is a great play by, again, Ryan Clement. He is the guy that's drawn Arizona State off. Arizona State is listening to the quarterback's voice inflections rather than watching the ball. And sure enough, Ryan Clement twice now has caused them to be a little quick off the ball and get penalized.
Magic Benton in motion. Again moving along the line. No flags down. The catch made by Benton. He eluded one tackler, got the first down, was tripped up from behind by Stephen Trejo at the 35-yard line. 13 yards and a first down for the Hurricanes. Magic Benton, junior from Miami, Florida. As the coaches say, he's been consistently inconsistent. Started last season with 3 straight 100-yard receiving games and then really tailed off.
But the coaches also say that he has signs of greatness,
yes.
and so did Ryan Clement. He said this guy can be as good as he wants to be.
Edgerrin James, wonderful movement of traffic. And that was a nifty play for a 4-yard gain. Very shifty maneuvering by James near the line of scrimmage. Stephen Trejo and Mitchell Friedman combining on the stop, and James coming off the big game against Baylor. He scored a touchdown on his first carry of the season, a 23-yard touchdown run. He's the first Hurricane to score on his first carry from scrimmage since Woody Bennett did it in 1976 against Florida State. Of course, Bennett went on to play for the Miami Dolphins.
Edgerrin James is going to become a dominant running back at the University of Miami. Set a freshman record.
Flags down. There was movement again along the line, and it's James trying to find some running room. He didn't find any. Swarmed under at the 28-yard line. Paul Reynolds led the defense with Damian Richardson. But again, it seems Clement's cadence is causing some problems along the Sun Devil front.
This is just a short little run by Edgerrin James, but you can see his great balance and vision. He gets the ball deep. All of a sudden, there's nowhere to go, and he has that great feel to let those blocks develop before he runs past them. This guy has what it takes. I loved him last year as a freshman. I love him today.
As you mentioned, last year he set the freshman rushing record at Miami by carrying for 446 yards, breaking Leonard Conley's record. 2nd down and 1. James trying to get outside of the left. Tillman has him by the shirt, but can't drag him down. Shy of the first down marker. Juwan Cherry came up to help Tillman make the stop, but it's a first down for Miami at the 23. The Hurricanes trail 3-0 in the 2nd quarter.
Arizona State had played that play perfectly. They could not have been in better defensive position, but when you give the ball to a great back, he makes people miss, and that's what Edgerrin James did there. He took a 2-yard loss and turned it into a positive gain.
Dragged one of the best linebackers in the Pac-10 along with him, Pat Tillman. On the draw, this time he's in trouble. No escaping this time for James, although he does drive the pile ahead for a yard. But it's still a loss back to the 24. Paul Reynolds, the first to put the hit on James. Reynolds has had an interesting trip to this Orange Bowl. He originally signed with Arizona State back in 1991. Then he went on a 2-year mission for the Mormon Church to Chile. Then he played professional baseball for 2.5 years in the Rockies organization as an outfielder. And returned last year. Movement again, and flags down again. And Clement going to the end zone, broken up by Jason Simmons. The intended receiver was Magic Benton, but Clement knew that was a free play, and he could throw it up for grabs because of the movement along the line. And Coach Snyder is already more than a little bit agitated about all these offside penalties.
Well, and the thing that agitates you as a coach is the defensive linemen are right on the ball. They can see the ball, so they shouldn't be looking or listening to Ryan Clement's voice. Clement throws this ball into coverage. He, as you said, he has a free play. He just lets it fly, but this pass is totally covered by Arizona State. Great defense by Simmons.
Mitchell Friedman put a pretty good hit on Benton, who comes to the sideline. 6 penalties against Arizona State. They went 11-1 last year playing like this. And James tackled himself. You developed a term for that, did you not? Self-tackleization?
That's my favorite term, when a running back goes down without contact by the defense. But here, Edger and James trips over Ryan Clement's feet. So it's really not self-tackleization. It's half of a self-tackleization. You can't call it total. Right there, he tripped him up, and as a result, that's kind of a quarterback tackleization. Does that make sense?
Somewhat, yes. Loss back to the 22. 10th play of the drive upcoming. Midway through the second quarter, Arizona State on the road leads 3-0. Clement with time, going for the end zone. Lots of contact, and here comes the flag. Omar Roll got tangled up with Courtney Jackson, and they're going to call Jackson for pass interference in the end zone.
Omar Roll is Ryan Clement's go-to guy. Last week at Baylor, he had 6 receptions. Ryan Clement likes to get him the ball. He runs a fade route, and he's actually beaten the defender, Courtney Jackson. Courtney Jackson, too much contact. Good call by the official. You know, a lot of times you wonder, well, should a defensive back ever interfere with a wide receiver? In that case, he probably saved a touchdown. It looked like a well-thrown ball. You give up 15 yards from the line of scrimmage rather than the touchdown. Sometimes when you get beat as a DB, it's good to interfere.
Contact was shy of the end zone. Ball placed down to the 7-yard line. James Jackson is checked into the ball game. Lined up at fullback. And he's the target of Clement. He's the target of Jason Simmons. Jackson belted down for a loss of 3 back to the 10-yard line by Simmons, the leader of that secondary, and the secondary is the strength of the ASU defense.
We mentioned Jason Simmons earlier. He's a guy that comes up big in the Arizona State secondary last year and again this year. He plays with a lot of determination. He's got a big heart. I like him when I watch him play.
And undoubtedly he likes you when you broadcast games.
Oh, you're
trying to butter you up early in the season.
Boy, to have a new partner's rough.
James tripped up by Shea Britton. Backup defensive tackle, sophomore from Los Angeles. And no gain on the play. So all of a sudden, Butch Davis's club is having a tough time advancing. 3-0 Arizona State. 7.5 remaining till halftime.
You've got Ryan Clement, a fella that hits over 60% of his passes. I don't expect that Miami's going to put this ball on the ground. They'll put it in the air, try to ride his arm to a touchdown. If they don't get it, settle for 3.
2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, 1 back. Clement, the quick pop to Jones, the tight end, and he's collared at the 3-yard line. Mitchell Friedman saved the touchdown. And the crowd wants Butch Davis to go for the touchdown, but it's a long 3 yards at the 3-yard line. He will try the game-tying field goal.
Sean, when they started booing when I was a head coach, I used to say, let them boo. I'm going to kick the ball. And that's exactly what Butch Davis needs to do here. It's just too long to take that risk. Get your 3 points, get even with Arizona State, and start the game over again. Good strategic decision by Butch Davis. Now the kicker's got to make it.
And this is the equivalent of an extra point, although it is from the hash mark. And Popovich, the holder, came up and called a timeout as the play clock was about to run out. CBS Sports coverage of NASDAQ college football will continue after this word from your local station.
The address is CBS. Welcome home.
Remember us? We're Tim and Willie, and we're back in Phoenix. But not where we used to be. Nope, now we're doing mornings on a brand new radio station. It's the new Wild Country 103.5. Now, to help you remember, we prepared a little visual demonstration. Here's us, and as you can see, we're now on the new Wild Country 103.5. So remember, join us, Tim and Willie, mornings on the new Wild Country 103.5.
Tim and Willie are back on Wild Country 103.5.
Oh!
We were never big sports fans. We'd follow the Suns, you know, watch the big games, playoffs.
But that's really changed. I mean, there's the new ballpark and the arena. And
We're becoming sports fans. The more you know about the game, the more you want to know what's going on.
Right. That's why we like Cox Cable. I mean, they just have so many games, and there's so much more information, and they just have better coverage, don't you think?
Call Cox Cable today and get connected for as little as $25.
Okay, let's get back to hockey names.
Hobby Bulin, Kachuk.
Gesundheit.
Who's that?
Hey, Wada Guy here. During Operation Wada Summer, we want to remind you that every Whataburger is hot, fresh, and custom-made to your order. So if you want pickles, or no pickles at all.
Sir, yes, sir.
No problem. You want lettuce, tomatoes, onions only?
Sir, yes, sir.
You got it. You want to add bacon and cheese?
Sir, yes, sir.
Can do.
Even jalapenos, sir.
Even jalapenos. We can custom fit a Whataburger exactly to you.
Sir, yes, sir.
Operation Wada Summer. We're taking orders from you.
The Arizona Republic High School Sports Week, Saturdays at 5 on Arizona 5.
Sean McDonough with Terry Donahue and Michelle Tafoya at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Butch Davis and the Hurricanes down 3-0, about to attempt a tying field goal. And keep your eyes on Quincy Yancey. Nick Garbuckle, the special teams coach, tells us he is the designated kick blocker, and at 6'8", you can understand why. Crosland out of the hold of Popovich from just inside the hash mark. Tough angle. And just did get it through the right upright. Andy Crosland, the sophomore from Dallas, Texas, has tied this game at 3. Crosland 1 out of 2 today. 6:26 remaining in the first half. 3-3 the score.
Introducing the rugged new Montana from Pontiac. With not one, but 2 sliding doors. Something handy for whoever's passing through. Life is more exciting in Montana.
Did you remember the milk?
Hey, Annie. Hi. Love the hat. Ugh, I need it. My hair's a disaster. Look at my dandruff. That's easy to take care of with the right shampoo. Here.
With regular shampoo, flakes can keep coming back, but Head & Shoulders helps eliminate dandruff and helps stop flakes before they even start. You may never see flakes again. And your hair?
My hair looks great. Thanks. Don't forget your hat. Who needs it?
Head & Shoulders changes dandruff problems into beautiful hair.
These days, we could all use more endurance. Say about 24 hours worth. I know I could. And now I've got it. Because now the Odor Fighter's new high-endurance deodorant lasts even longer. New High Endurance lasts a full 24 hours. No one else is this strong, this long. Plus, it's got this new Pure Sports scent. So now you can smell better, longer. Guaranteed. Or call 1-800-PROVE-IT and Old Spice will buy you a stick of yours. Hey, no matter what you're into, now you've got all the endurance you need. A full 24 hours. Guaranteed.
This is Jim Nance in New York. Coming up at halftime from our College Football Today studios, Craig James and Lou Holtz will join me for scores and highlights, including #1 ranked Penn State's victory today over Temple, where Curtis Enos went over 2,000 yards rushing on his career on this 14-yard touchdown run. All that coming up at halftime. Now back to the game.
All right, thank you very much, Jim. Welcome back to the Orange Bowl, everyone. Sean McDonough with Terry Donahue, and Terry is 3-3, but it's been an entertaining ball game so far.
Well, it really has been. And Arizona State had a good game plan coming into this contest. So did Miami. The two teams are almost mirrors of one another, offensively as well as, in some ways, defensively. There's a round.
I did kick your Hurricanes from the 37.
George Gaitan will kick off after the field goal by Crosland, finishing the drive at 62 yards, 13 plays. Very short kick, and it bounces, and that's dangerous. And is a free football as Matt Sircone could not handle it on the bounce, and the Canes are indicating they have it, but they do not. The ball hit like a sand wedge with some spin. At backspin, went back toward the line of scrimmage. Gaitan saying, yeah, I can do that whenever I want. And Sircone had his hands on it and couldn't control it. And Marlon Farlow came up with the free football for Bruce Snyder, who has been anxious on more than one occasion here in the first half.
Whenever you get a pooch kick, a ball that hangs up high, you've got to get your people to fair catch it. In that particular play, the wedge players needed to fair catch that ball, which you can do on a kickoff.
From the 22. Mike Martin. Very little gain. He's out to the 24, and that's it. Next week, the NASDAQ College Football doubleheader beginning at 12 Eastern Time. As #1 Penn State travels to Louisville to take on the Cardinals, and we'll be in Gainesville for the SEC battle between #4 Tennessee and #2 Florida. Will Peyton Manning finally emerge victorious over that Florida team in his last try? It'll be in Gainesville against the defending national champion. That's a game of enormous national significance, obviously, beyond the conference implications. What a run by Redmond, showing that he's not just a speed back outside. He can carry with power as well, and he's very close to a first down out near the 33-yard line, a gain of 8 for J.R.
You mentioned yesterday, as we talked to J.R. Redmond about his relationship with Michael Martin, he almost talked respectfully, if you will, as to the fact that Michael Martin deserved absolutely to be the starting tailback because of all the adversity that he had been through, because of his talent, the leadership he gives to the team. But J.R. Redmond says, hey, I'm going to get my carries, I'm going to get my receptions, I'm going to be in that game, and I'm just a sophomore.
We'll get this carry as well. Out to the 35, bangs ahead to the 37. There is a flag down at the 35-yard line. It's been a flag festival here in the first half.
There's a penalty flag on the play.
And what a big surprise, a holding call.
Now, pretty soon, Bruce Snyder and Butch Davis, they'll start working the umpire and the referee, and their line will be, I've never seen so many holding calls in all my life. That's a classic.
Offense. 10 yards, spotted a foul. Replay first down.
You got to work those guys just a little bit when you've had this many holding penalties this early in the game. But the reality is, every one of them have seemingly been a very good call.
Now, did you say it as nicely on the sideline as you just did to our television audience?
Of course. Absolutely.
Redmond the lone back. They're back to the 25-yard line. First down at 18 for Ryan Kealy, and he's sacked by Lewis. Damian Lewis with help from Michael Lawson. Second sack for the Miami Hurricanes this afternoon.
Damian Lewis is working against Kyle Murphy, number 56, the left guard for Arizona State, and Murphy just can't handle him. Murphy's considered one of the best guards in the Pac-10. Murphy just released him. It looked like he was going to run a little swing, a little screen pass out there to the right. He just released him too quickly. Damian Lewis, with that great quickness that the Miami coaches, Bill Miller, the defensive coordinator, told us about.
And nearly tripped up Kealy. Kealy might have been over the line of scrimmage when he threw that ball. There is a flag down. The catch made by Kenny Mitchell. He's out to the 39, but I think he was over the line of scrimmage, was Ryan Kealy, by about a yard when he threw that football. Dennis Scott and Nate Brooks made the tackle. I believe this one's coming back. And that's what it was, an illegal forward pass.
Ryan Kealy hasn't made very many mistakes today. He's had a tremendous presence about him. But as he scrambled to make something happen, he just lost his bearings on the field. I've seen it happen to a lot of players, not only young ones, but experienced ones. The thing I like about Ryan Kealy, though, is he improvises. When a play can break down, he's a lot. He makes a play like Jake Plummer used to make him. He can improvise.
This Arizona State offense in reverse, and on 3rd down at 27. They decided to keep it on the ground with Martin, and Michael Lawson tripped him up. And Arizona State will punt with 3.5 minutes remaining in the first half in a 3-3 game. Marcus Williams punting with the wind at his back. His first punt traveled 37 yards. Arizona Starks back at the 39-yard line.
Arizona State better be careful with Dwayne Starks back there. Last week, an 85-yard touchdown return.
They hit the kicker and a flag comes down. Very high punt and a fair catch made by Starks at the 41. 39-yard punt without a return. And this might not be the fatal variety against Miami.
Eugene Ridgely comes after the punt, number 29. He lays out. The thing you try to coach your players to do is always take the ball off of the kicker's foot. Eugene Ridgely, right there, must have blinked or shut his eyes, and as a result, he definitely roughed the kicker.
There's also a flag down to the 39-yard line for a holding call against Arizona State, where the officials have been the dominant figures of the first half. And you don't expect as many penalties as we've seen in a game between two top 25 teams. Arizona State idle last week, but still moved into the top 25 in the AP poll for the first time this year at number 24. They were pounding the no respect drum after last year when they weren't ranked at all in the preseason or after the first week of the regular season. Butch Davis and the Miami Hurricanes, number 13 in the poll, and thinking about moving into the top 10 with a win over Arizona State today if they could earn that victory.
Well, it was their big win against Nebraska last year that really put them into the national limelight.
Defense. That penalty's refused. Holding on the receivers. That penalty will be enforced. 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. Replay 4th down.
And that victory over Nebraska is what gave the players the confidence at Arizona State to believe they were a national team. And Bruce Snyder was telling us yesterday as we visited that this game against Miami is like that. If he can beat Miami on television in the Orange Bowl, all of a sudden this team will prove that they too deserve national recognition.
He said the reason his team didn't get a lot of votes in the preseason was voters think that they're really a one-hit wonder, that last year might have been a fluke, that Arizona State hasn't really built a program where they're going to be there every year. This year they're out to prove that they will be there every year. Good decision to take the penalty. It's a better punt, and it's dropped by Starks, and he fell on it at the 24-yard line. That's a 45-yard punt by Marcus Williams. And Miami will begin at its own 24, 2:55 left in the first half.
Somewhere between amber and linen, there's heaven. Between heaven and earth, there's daylight. And if you follow daylight past sunrise and dawn, your eyes open to a color called morning. One of the colors between the colors created by Canon Laser Color. Its only competition is reality.
When my grandfather surfed the bonsai pipeline, narrow boards ruled. Eventually, Gramps had a stroke of genius. A wider board for better control. He said, wider is better.
Presenting the new Wide-Track Grand Prix Sports Sedan. Its wheels are set wide to hold the road for more control when you're shooting the curves.
It's true. The
new Wide-Track Grand Prix by Pontiac. Wider is better.
A company most people never heard of is changing the way we fight cancer and kidney failure by inducing the body to produce blood cells. Chemotherapy and anemia patients are gaining new strength. Helping to grow blood cells helped Amgen become the world's largest independent biotech company. Where do you learn about companies with such pioneering spirit? Exactly. NASDAQ.com.
Friends, you can jump onto CBS.sportsline.com and make your choice for the greatest college football quarterback of all time. And here are the nominees selected, we want to point out, by our Sportsline colleagues. Danny Werfel of Florida, Ty Detmer of BYU, Doug Flutie of Boston College, Roger Staubach of Navy, and Jim Plunkett of Stanford. Tune in to our game next weekend. Find out who was the fans' choice in the CBS Sportsline all-time great poll. Now, undoubtedly, there are others that could have been on that list, but that's the group assembled. Vote from that group. Edgerrin James put it in reverse for a moment and got back to the 25. That's a gain of only one for the sophomore. And it'll be 2nd down and 9, and the time now a factor. 2:38 and running left in the first half in a 3-3 game, and only one timeout remaining for Miami. ASU has 2 timeouts remaining.
Well, Miami here wants to make sure that the clock continues to move until they get better field position. Then they'll begin to worry about the clock. Right now, the ball's backed up into their own territory. They don't want Arizona State to get it with too much time left.
Rare problem on first down for Miami. They have been averaging 7 yards per first down play. That's a quality gain on 2nd down, and it stops the clock as well. The pass caught by Reggie Wayne, the true freshman. Courtney Jackson knocked him out of bounds at the 36-yard line. 1st and 10 Canes.
Larry Coker, the offensive coordinator at Miami, was telling us yesterday that he really thought Reggie Wayne was a great prospect. He just needed a lot of time and experience in the system. But once he got the system down, he was going to be really efficient. There's Larry right there.
On 1st and 10. Nice catch. Is it inbounds? Yes. Omar Roll out of bounds at the 42 for a gain of 6. An outstanding catch on a high throw on the run from Clement.
In college football, you just need 1 foot in bounds. Clearly, the official right there on the spot. It's an acrobatic catch by Omar Roll, the guy that Ryan Clement has the most confidence in on the Miami football team.
See his numbers against Baylor. He missed all of last year with an injured knee. Got reconstructive knee surgery. 1:39 left of the half. 3-3 to score. Clement fires over the middle. Drop. It looked like Roll might break free in ASU territory. He was at the 45-yard line when the ball bounced off his hands. And Richardson had the coverage. Roll had a couple of early drops last week against Baylor and then played a terrific game.
Omar Roll just runs down the middle of the defense of Arizona State. He runs down the field, turns it up inside, finds a seam in the zone. The ball is perfectly thrown. That ball's got to be caught in his hands. It bounced off his pads. He needs to catch that ball in his hands, not let it in there on his pads.
3rd down. 4 yards to go for a first down. On the ground, James. A couple of fakes. He did not get the first down. Now will the Sun Devils use a timeout with 1:25 left in the half?
I would think absolutely.
And they do. Because Miami will be punting into about a 10-mile-per-hour breeze. Back for the final minute, 23 of the half in a moment.
big game? No, I'm not into college football. What? What? Not into college football? Well, let me tell you something. College football is Saturday afternoon. It's crisp fall days. It's the sun reaching its zenith, warming your body paint till it crackles. It's 79,000 hearts beating as one. Would you please take it down a notch so I can talk to the lad? Thank you. I want to get you to that game. I want to talk to you about football.
3-3 the score. And the punt by Crosland in the air. Caught on the run by Redmond. Redmond with some running room on the near sideline. That's the punter Crosland who made the tackle. Andy Crosland might have saved the touchdown. Redmond taken down at the 37-yard line. A 31-yard punt and a 37-yard return by J.R. Redmond.
In talking to Dick Arbuckle, the special teams coach for Arizona State, yesterday he told us, he said, J.R. Redmond makes a difference on our special teams. He returns punts and kickoffs. Nothing can turn a game around quicker than a punt return or a kickoff return. And sure enough, J.R. Redmond comes up with a big return for ASU.
Plenty of time now for the Sun Devils. A minute 10 left in the half, and under pressure is Kealy. That's a gain on the play. Down close to the 32-yard line. Michael Lawson able to run him down with help from Derek Ham. We're less than a minute away from halftime. Coming up on the Ford halftime report, Jim Nance, Craig James, and Lou Holtz with scores and highlights, and there are a lot of surprises in college football today. Second down. Kealy dancing in the pocket. Over the middle and batting down. Dennis Scott knocked down the pass intended for Kenny Mitchell.
Dennis Scott is one of those great Miami safeties. He's known really for his run support more than his pass defense. Comes up and makes an outstanding play over the middle to knock this ball down. Ryan Kealy did an excellent job, Sean, of stepping up into the pocket, buying some time, and getting that ball downfield. He is, as Bruce Snyder said, he's a cool customer. I like it.
Moving along the line to no contact. Third down. Draw play. Big hole. And a first down for Redmond. Look at him fight his way down to the 15-yard line. His leg bent rather awkwardly on the tackle by Scott, but Redmond bounces right back up. It's a gain of 18. First down, Devils, with 27 seconds left in the half. And the clock's going to run when they reset the chains here.
When you're playing against a team like Miami, they're going to come upfield on that pass rush. The draw is a great counter. Dan Cassetto, excellent call.
From the 15, first and 10. Kealy. In pursuit, Lewis, and the pass just a little bit too high for Craig Spann at the goal line. Good poise by Kealy there with Damian Lewis racing up behind him. 16 seconds, one timeout left for the Sun Devils. 3-3 the score. And it's second and 10 from the 15-yard line. Kealy had a battle for the quarterback spot in the preseason with a junior, Steve Campbell, and one of the reasons Kealy emerged victorious in that battle was his mobility. Campbell's a big guy at 6'8", 240 pounds. Three receivers into the game with Boyer, the man in motion. Short drop, and the pass thrown well behind Ricky Boyer. And I'm not sure the Sun Devils wanted that one anyway. He would have been tackled in bounds short of a first down. The clock would have run. They would have had to use their final timeout.
Ricky Boyer ran a little option route. He went one way, and Ryan Kealy read him the other way. That's why the ball was so far off the target. But you're right, that was probably better left incomplete.
You got to throw it in the end zone here, do you not?
Absolutely. You've got some shots at the end zone. You've got to take them.
Still the three wide receiver set, no tight end. And they give it to Polk. Apparently they're content to play for the field goal here. They'll let it run down and use the timeout. With 5 seconds to go, they keep the ball more or less in the middle of the field for Robert Neese. Bruce Snyder on the road as an underdog would be very happy to go to the locker room with a young and relatively inexperienced team with the lead.
Well, both these teams, as we've mentioned, are so similar to one another. They both love to play great defense. They want to stress the running game. But in this particular case, Bruce Snyder, as you said, the advantage he has, he's on the road. He's an underdog. He can play conservatively. And he goes into the locker room. If they make this kick, he goes in there with a 3-point lead, and he tells his players, hey, guys, we're 9-point underdogs. Here we are. We're leading by 3, and we're just getting started.
Well, coaches love to talk about the 5-year plan. When they get a new job, I have a 5-year plan. It's going to take 5 years, and it always sounds like a cliche. A lot of times it doesn't turn out to be 5 years and then success for coaches. But for Bruce Snyder, 5 years is the magic number. At Cal in his 5th year, 10-2. And in his 5th year at Arizona State, 11-1. Very nearly a national championship. They lost to Ohio State in the Rose Bowl in the waning moments. And prior to the Rose Bowl, Bruce signed a contract extension. It'll take him through the year 2002. He's 57 years old. He says he'd like to retire with the thought that he has put this program in a position where year after year they're a contender for the national title.
Well, and he has said very openly that the players at Arizona State have a little chip on their shoulder because they don't want to look at this as a rebuilding year. He wants, as you said, year in and year out, Arizona State to be respected nationally as just reloading, not rebuilding.
Nice, a 32-yard field goal try. Kealy, the quarterback, is the holder. And Nice is perfect. 2 for 2. Bruce Snyder's an excellent official when it comes to calling those field goals. Officially a 33-yard field goal for Nice. And barring something major in the final 2 seconds, Butch Davis and the Hurricanes will be trailing at halftime.
Tell you something that is also a little unusual is that Ryan Kealy, the starting quarterback, is the holder for Nice. A lot of times you don't want your starting quarterback to be the holder. Sometimes people run into the holder. Also, if the quarterback hasn't gotten his team in the end zone for a touchdown, sometimes there's frustration. So you want to kind of have a cool guy out there. But Ryan Kealy's so cool, he can play quarterback and holder.
Well, we'll see some cool customers next week. It's the Volunteers and the Gators. Last year, the Vols were looking to celebrate. Florida conquered Knoxville. Danny Werfel led the high-powered Florida offense. The Gators jumped out to a 35-0 lead. Tennessee fought back, but Peyton Manning could not escape the jaws of that Gator defense. Next Saturday, Tennessee looks for its first win in Gainesville since 1971. Game 2 of our doubleheader following Penn State and Louisville. That all begins next Saturday at 12 Eastern time. That's going to be the biggest game perhaps in the nation in the month of September. Tennessee and Florida with conference and national championship implications. Nice accepting the congratulations on the sideline. 2 seconds away from Jim, Craig, and Lou. The scores and highlights. It is squibbed down the field. Joseph couldn't handle it. And the Hurricanes content to cover it at the 17-yard line. And it's halftime. The end of the first half, the score, Arizona State 6 and Miami 3. Jim Nance, Craig James, and Lou Holtz will be along with college football's halftime report after this word from your local station.
The address is CBS. Welcome home. This is your team, the home team, the Arizona Cardinals.
And no one's getting down and dirty with this team like Arizona 5. How much more inside can you get than this? Oh! So where are you going to turn when you really want to find out what's going on in the locker room? Guys!
Get it straight from the bird's mouth. Cardinals Insider, Sunday nights at 10:30, only on Arizona 5 CBS.
Let me on now. Oh, okay.
A lot of people don't think they need cellular service until they consider the alternative.
Think I might have picked up something overseas?
Let's face it, everybody could use a cellular phone. And now AirTouch Cellular is as low as $9.99 a month, including free activation and a flip phone. Visit an AirTouch location or call 1-800-AirTouch now and get your first 3 months for as low as $9.99 a month.
All yours.
He was in a hurry. No problem.
Thank you, sir.
Avis Roving Rapid Return had him checked in under a minute. And then I heard it, a pager. And when I saw the message, I knew I had to find the owner.
Avis cars come with Avis people, and trying harder is what they do best.
Dr. Baxter, I think you left this in the car home. I need a phone.
Yes, sir. I'll bet you somebody out there is glad we try harder.
We try harder, Avis.
When is the official last day of summer? I have no idea. At Sonic, summer's a state of mind. It just keeps going and going and going.
This month at Sonic, you can get one of our old-fashioned floats or one of our new blended flurries for just 99 cents.
It always feels like summer at Sonic.
Drive into Sonic this month and get our Junior Double Cheeseburger for just 99 cents.
I'm Paul Kelvisi. Thanks for watching Arizona 5 CBS.
The College Football Today Ford Division Halftime Report is sponsored by Ford Division.
Welcome, Jim Nance from our New York studios, the Ford Halftime Report, and of course right alongside Craig James and Lou Holtz. And let's fire up the scoreboard, gentlemen, and take a look at what we have. Illinois and Louisville at the half. That one tied at 14. A big kick return there for Louisville. They trailed most of the way, but now it's all even at 14. South Carolina and Georgia also in action. And take a look at that game. Georgia leads at the intermission 31-6. They did not start their big running back today, Craig.
Now, which was a great decision, too. Olga even approved of that thing because Olandis Gary, he came on it before, not only running the football, taking it in here, but also receiving.
Robert Edwards out after 2 big years, the last 2 seasons against the Gamecocks. Here's Gary out of the backfield from Bobo for another touchdown. That made it 21-6. Then Anthony Wright picked off. And look at the run back, Champ Bailey. That made it 28-6. Just before the intermission, they kicked another field goal, 31-6. Lou, you said there's a lot to lose in this game before we got it started.
I know South Carolina has to be exceptionally disappointed, but what a great morale boost this is for the University of Georgia.
Down at the Orange Bowl, Arizona State kicked the field goal before the intermission to lead the Hurricanes 6-3.
Said Robert Neese would be the guy that would have to keep them in the game, and hopefully they can do it with their offense. But good performance so far by Ryan Kealy, not making mistakes for Arizona State.
Out at Husky Stadium, Washington hosting San Diego State. Next week, Washington will be hosting Nebraska. Jim Lambright, though, hoping his team will not look ahead. Brock Heward is quarterback, connecting with Jerome Pathon, who reaches across 12-yard touchdown to make it 7-0. Heward liked that hookup, so he went back to Pathon. 45 yards gained and all, set up a field goal, and Washington leads this one, Lou, 17-3 at halftime.
We played Washington last year, and I think Heward's the best deep passer I have ever seen. Washington can run the ball, they throw the ball, play great defense. That's why they're outstanding.
And Brock Heward may not win the Heisman this year, but put him at the top of the list, go forward.
Florida State and Maryland. Thad Busby's already thrown for 225 yards and a touchdown. Maryland has never beaten Florida State. Looks like it will not happen today. Second quarter, 3 minutes to go in the half in that one. How about this? Central Florida led Nebraska at halftime, 17-14. Did anyone in Lincoln expect this out of the Golden Knights?
I think the black shirts forgot to run through that tunnel, though, the defense.
Dante Culpepper gave Central Florida the lead, 7-0 on that keeper. From 10 yards out, Scott Frost, though, gave Nebraska the 14-10 edge. Sheldon Jackson with the score. But before halftime, the Golden Eagles go back on top. Culpepper to Mark Nonsant. 17-14. Lou, you lived down there in Orlando, so you knew about this team that had lost 2 close ones going into this one. However, Nebraska rolls up 500-plus yards total offense to pull away second half.
Well, to win a game like this, you have to come up with a great play on defense, and that's what Central Florida is not doing. To have an upset, your defense has to come up with some big plays.
And you said this team should be in the Big East, Central Florida.
Well, I think they should be in the Big East. They're a very solid football team.
What about the Big 12?
Yeah, the way they look today, you're not kidding. Ohio State hosting Bowling Green, 2 schools only 120 miles apart. Michael Wiley returned a kickoff 100 yards for a touchdown, and the Buckeyes win as expected. Texas and UCLA, and Cade McNown has thrown 5 touchdown passes. What's the story here, Craig? Unbelievable.
Well, hey, you know, it doesn't matter what happens at Texas with James Brown and out and all that stuff. UCLA's offense dominated Texas. They're kicking their fanny up front, and that new aggressive defensive style Texas was going to bring out, It didn't show up today.
Texas always blows one early, and that's what they were worried about there. They're getting blown off their own home field today.
They might lose a game, but they better not lose a football team, because that is embarrassing to Texas. That doesn't happen to them.
James Brown out with injury. Walton, their quarterback. Notre Dame and Purdue. Lou, you were 11-0 against the Boilermakers. Had shut them out 3 of the last 5 years. But now the second quarter, Purdue winning in Joe Tiller's home debut. Can you believe that one?
Yeah, but that isn't going to stay. The University of Notre Dame come back. You go back. They always play Notre Dame well down there, but I promise you, Notre Dame will find a way to win.
So Purdue leads that one 14-10, and we'll continue on the Ford halftime report with some of the early action, early finals. When we continue in just a moment.
This is the Triton-powered Ford F-150, and this is a 102,000-pound earth mover. Now that's what we call taking the bulldozer by the horns. Ford F-Series, built Ford tough.
I needed a little tune-up before heading to camp, so I decided to look up some of the fastest guys in the game, thinking we could run some drills.
Gee, Mr. Namath, I'm sure my dad would love to come over and play.
But it would just be two-hand touch, right?
Wow, you're still alive?
Unfortunately, I couldn't find any of their numbers. So I put on my new low-to-the-ground Zoom Air shoes and went out back with some of the neighborhood kids. Still got a few bullets left in the old gun.
17 stitches. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I saw the 2x4 that hit you. You must be hurting.
Not anymore. Doctor gave me Tylenol, extra strength.
Looked like a lot of pain.
Don't remind me. Let's go.
Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Neutrogena T-Gel Dandruff Shampoo. Recommended #1 by dermatologists. It works. Handles any type of dandruff symptom from mild to severe. Controlling dandruff and other itchy, flaky scalp conditions. Neutrogena T-Gel Shampoo.
Hey, wait for me. Smells good. Pass it down.
It's an indisputable fact that kids love the taste of Campbell's chicken noodle soup.
Good. Yeah. Not hug it all.
And ever since we added more chicken, there's been even more to love.
Hurry up, I'm hungry.
Which means there's still more to go around.
Hey, I never knew there was chicken in this soup.
Campbell's makes everything
better.
Launching.
Investigations into outer space with the Mars crawler.
Launching.
Research into our planet's ancient origins through expeditions in Africa's Rift Valley.
Launching.
New treatments in the fight against cancer.
Launching.
Great students with the support of a great faculty. Launch your future at www.asu.edu. Launch your future at Arizona State University.
Bob and Judd.
I stammer.
Oil and water.
It gets worse when I run into someone who's obnoxious.
George and Leo. CBS Monday.
The College Football Today Ford Division Halftime Report is sponsored by Ford Division.
And welcome back to New York. Jim Nance with the Ford Halftime Report from our College Football Today studios. Craig, Lou, let's go through some of the finals from earlier today. Penn State, #1 ranked, 52-10 over Temple, beating the Owls for the 22nd straight time. In the first minute, though, looked rather interesting. After a Nittany Lion fumble, watch the Owls and Stacey Mack take it in for a 7-0 lead, but Penn State would reverse things. Twice today they scored on reverses with Shafi Fields, this one for 43 yards and a score.
Believe it or not, I think this offense can average behind their offensive line 40 points a ball game, much like their 94 explosive unit that averaged 47.
And here's the fifth-year senior quarterback Mike McQuarrie connecting with Joe Jurevicius as they pulled away 52-10. We'll have him against Louisville next week on CBS.
Penn State is going to be a conservative football team because Joe Paterno will control the game. I've never seen anybody control it better than he does.
Yeah, they were conservative today. 2 reverses and a bomb for a touchdown. Michigan and Colorado. This matchup the last 2 years came down to the last play of the game, but not this time, as Michigan really put it on Colorado and took it to the quarterback, John Hessler, who was picked off 4 times.
Well, Hessler did not have a particularly good day, obviously, but Michigan controlled the line of scrimmage on both offense and defense, giving Greasy time to throw, and as long as they do that, they can play with anybody.
That's Greasy giving him a 17-0 lead with a touchdown pass to Chris Howard. Here he connects with Russell Shaw, 258 yards passing for the quarterback in the victory.
We had a lot of mistakes, though. We had guys holding and some offsides, and those are things we got to take care of if we're going to be a good football team. And the thing that I'm excited about is yeah, we won the game, but there's a lot of room for improvement.
Rick Neuheisel usually can call plays that gets his quarterback and offense out of a slump, but Michigan's defense, as you said, Coach, they dominated the whole ball game, no chance.
Lloyd Carr now 8-0 in September, 10-8 otherwise. Auburn and Ole Miss. Ole Miss has never won at Auburn. 0-8 all time. They led going to the fourth quarter, 6-3, but then the Tigers turned it up in that final period. Here they take the lead on Fred Beasley's dash up the middle from 4 yards out.
Right there, you can see why Ole Miss has not beaten Auburn, because Auburn controls the line of scrimmage. They give the quarterback protection, and they establish the running game and pressure the other team's quarterback.
That's Ryan Taylor getting the sack of Stuart Partridge for a safety, and then to ice it, Damian Craig to Tyrone Goodson for the score. 10-point win. Goodson with 6 catches, 137 yards, and Auburn takes on LSU next week. Clemson and North Carolina State came down to the final minute. And for Mike O'Kane, the NC State coach, he was the team MVP at Clemson back in the 70s when he was their quarterback, trying to go to 3-0. They led in the game and kind of controlled things until this fumble was returned for a touchdown by Raheem Abdullah, covering 76 yards. Still, State, midway through the final period, regained the lead on Jamie Barnett's hookup with Torrey Holt, the man he hit for a 2-point conversion in their win at Syracuse. Clemson drove behind Nealon Green, their quarterback. 19 seconds left, and the field goal from 20 yards. Matt Padgett connects, and the victory for Clemson, 19-17. Memphis at Michigan State. This was 42-0 at halftime. The Spartans, who roll easily today.
That's 2 impressive wins in a row. We'll see how good they are next week when they go down and play Notre Dame.
West Virginia led Boston College 17-3, and then the Eagles roared back at home. In fact, it happened with Omari Walker suffering a sprained knee. Off the field in crutches, his replacement took over. Mike Cloud, 211 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Walker cheering him on. That put him up 31-17, 28 unanswered, but West Virginia tried to come back. Mark Bolger to Sean Foreman. It was a 7-point game, and then West Virginia trying to come back. 2.5 to go. Markel Blunt saved it off the tip, the INT, and Tom O'Brien with his first win as the Boston College coach.
This is the theme of college football this year. You go ahead, Boston College, lose to Temple, beat a 2-0 West Virginia team. Get used to it, fans.
Kansas beats Missouri, and Terry Allen, the new coach, 3-0, the first coach to win his first 3 games as the Kansas football man since Fog Allen. Back in 1920, the old legendary basketball coach. We'll continue on the College Football Today studios in just a moment.
This is actually a family car, but that can be your little secret. Ford Taurus.
Now get $1,500 cash back on Ford Taurus.
Most low-price computer ads include legal type, like this, to let you know about all the wonderful things you won't be getting with your computer. Now this system includes everything you need to get started: printer, monitor, and software. It's only $14.99 plus shipping and tax. And best of all, it's from Gateway. Gateway computers feature Intel Pentium processors. Call us at 1-800-GATEWAY and we'll build one for you.
It's in all of us, the basic human instinct to protect the lives we build. From our beginnings as the very first insurer of automobiles, to our wide-ranging protection options for homeowners, Travelers has answered this basic need. What we all want is what Travelers Property Casualty provides. Something to hold on to.
I thought quarterbacks were the smart ones.
That's right.
Ooh, he hasn't shaved.
But it hurts.
Another foam shaver. Hey, he didn't know about Edge Pro Gel.
New Edge, Reg?
This is New Edge Pro Gel, and it's a moisturizing formula, so it protects better than the foam.
It doesn't hurt.
Would I let you get hurt?
New Edge Pro Gel. Save your skin.
All right, and now he is beautiful, just like me.
The University of Miami is truly a university on the move. In just 7 decades, the University of Miami has emerged as one of America's premier research universities dedicated to providing a quality education. Located in beautiful South Florida, the University of Miami is part of a community on the move, generating a vibrant environment for learning and living. A research university dedicated to excellence, the University of Miami.
Halftime here in Miami, 6-3 Arizona State. Let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
All right, with Coach Bruce Snyder, coach of ASU, you had wanted to keep this game close. You lead 6-3 on the road. This is about as close as you can get at this point.
Oh, I know it. It's a defensive struggle, obviously, and some awfully big plays by both defenses. I think it's a great game. My God, I mean, it's fun to coach in, and they're playing very hard, so are we.
You had wanted to assess how your team responded to momentum swings. Obviously, there haven't been huge ones score-wise, but there have been some changes in momentum. How happy are you with the response?
In fact, that was the theme of my halftime speech, is that I was so proud of them that when adversity struck, we just kept playing. And that's so important for a team's development. So I'm fine. I think we're going to be good that way.
Coach, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, Sean, back up to you.
Coach Snyder says responding to adversity was a big part of their success a year ago. 6-3 Sun Devils, back for the second half in a moment.
Is that a new Big King? No, it's a bag, Coach. No, in the bag, son. Yes, sir, it is.
Well, what's a smart kid like you doing sitting on the bench? Get in there and play quarterback.
Really?
Like taking candy from a baby.
The new Big King from Burger King, flame broiled with 75% more beef. It's like a Big Mac, except it's bigger and tastes better. And right now, you can get one for just 99 cents.
Coach said I could play halfback.
He doesn't really talk about his hair, but I know he thinks about it. I've seen him check it in the mirror. That's why he uses Pantene Pro-V shampoo and treatment conditioner to help keep his hair strong. The Pro Vitamin formula penetrates root to tip, improving hair, keeping it looking really healthy, shiny, strong. I notice a difference now. He does too. Pantene Pro-V, for hair so healthy it shines.
Go where you wanna go. Leave the boundaries far behind you.
Introducing the all-new Goodyear Eagle F1 with racing-inspired dual aqua channels that sweep water away for serious traction in the wet, especially in braking. The new ultra-high-performance Goodyear Eagle F1.
Serious freedom. Goodyear, Goodyear.
Today, there are more than 14 million places throughout the world where you can buy almost anything without cash, without checks, because today there are better ways to pay. Gold cards, platinum cards, debit cards, and corporate cards from MasterCard. MasterCard, the future of money.
One U.S. attorney is not afraid to stand up for justice, even if he has to stand alone.
You have my word.
David Caruso is Michael Hayes, premiering CBS Monday.
Miami has won 11 straight home openers, a streak that is in jeopardy here this afternoon, as at halftime it is 6-3 Arizona State, thanks in large part to J.R. Redmond, the sophomore from Carson, California, showing his big play capability in the first half. This punt return of 37 yards set up the go-ahead field goal. And after the punt return, this run got them down to the field goal range. A terrific half for Redmond.
He reminds me in his running style of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who played for me at UCLA and plays now for the Miami team, the Dolphins, and they both attack the line of scrimmage. J.R. Redmond attacks the line of scrimmage when he carries the ball.
Short kickoff from Marcus Williams, fielded by Jeff Popovich. He finds a seam in the middle of the field and puts his head down and makes his way out to the 38. Terrific field position. The tackle was made by Jason Williams. 23 yards on the return. Sean McDonough with Terry Donahue. As Coach Snyder said, it's been a fun game, even though it's just 6-3. And talking about J.R. Redmond, last year Jake Plummer, when he was going for the Heisman Trophy, told the PR folks at Arizona State, someday you'll be having this same campaign for J.R. Redmond. Might not be this year, but he's going to be talked about if he keeps going like this as a Heisman Trophy contender someday.
No question about it, Sean. This guy has made an impact at ASU, and Miami has certainly learned to respect him today.
Nice spin move by Daryl McMillan on the first carry of the second half, but even reversing his field did not help him. Courtney Jackson made the tackle. Let's look at the halftime numbers. The most important number, the score, 6-3 in favor of the Sun Devils. First downs even. Total yardage pretty even as well. A slight edge for ASU, and they had the one big turnover that ended their first drive as they had moved down toward the red zone. Second down and 10. Clement toss it over the middle. All kinds of running room for McMillan. Trying to beat Courtney Jackson. And McMillan is not the breakaway threat that James is. Isn't blessed with great speed. Jackson had the angle and took him out at the 33 after a 29-yard gain. And McMillan is down on the Arizona State sideline.
Daryl McMillan had a bad shoulder last week against Baylor. Appears that he's re-injured it. Ryan Clement, the thing that he does is he improvises on this play. He's looking downfield, everyone is covered, and all of a sudden he finds McMillan wide open underneath those linebackers. It's a little 3 to 4 yard pass, but sure enough, the linebackers had vacated all that room to create a huge gain for Miami to open up the second half.
And he really did get slammed down on that injured left shoulder. And he's back on his feet and trotting off. We'll return to Miami in a moment.
Got yourself a sport unit, huh? Yes, sirree. Very nice. I see you got all your finer amenities. Leather trim seats, compact disc unit, power windows, power everything. You're lucky. Not everyone can afford the lobster. Must have set you back a bit. Am I right? Huh?
Actually, right now, you can get a great lease on a well-equipped Bravada, just $359 a month. Or if you prefer to buy, you'll get $2,000 cash back.
And again, I suppose you could lease one.
On September 26th, nature will push you to extremes.
He's toying with us.
But only man can push you to the edge.
Why would I want to kill you, Charles? For my wife. I've seen you with her.
Anthony Hopkins.
You want to die out here.
I don't want to hear it!
Alec Baldwin.
What one man can do, another can do! Look at me!
The Edge, rated R. September 26th, only in theaters.
Man, this gray hair makes me look old.
Then do what I did. Get rid of it.
You were gray? I never knew that.
No one can tell you use the remarkable discovery called Just for Men. Simply shampoo in Just for Men, and in 5 minutes, rinse. It's time-controlled to blend away gray in 5 minutes without changing your natural color.
Even I can't tell what used to be gray. Thanks.
Just for Men. Looks so natural, even friends can't tell.
Business is a race. For a head start, the Xerox DocuColor 40 lets you print or copy 40 color pages in just 60 seconds. Because in the business world, the tortoise never wins. The Document Company, Xerox.
Daryl McMillan on the Miami sideline. He aggravated the shoulder injury suffered 2 weeks ago against Baylor. It appears to be okay on the sideline, not being treated. 30 yards of the pass play to McMillan. First and 10. The ASU 33. With flags down, gives the ball to Edgerrin James, who just came in from McMillan. Reynolds made the tackle, and it might have been Jeremy Scott who was offside, and this was a big problem for Arizona State in the first half.
And it'll continue to be a problem as long as they listen to Ryan Clement's voice and don't watch the football.
Defense, 5 yards, replay first down.
Last week, Arizona State had 13 penalties. Today, they already have 9 for 75 yards. We're seeing Arizona State's defense shift with the Miami shift. A lot of movement going around when just one guy from Miami shifts. Phil Snow, the defensive coordinator at Arizona State, is going to have something to say about all these offside penalties. It takes away the aggressiveness of the Arizona State defense.
1st and 5. Miami now at the 28-yard line. Short drop, the quick pop complete to James, who lines up out wide. And he's very close to a first down, but does not appear to have it. Looks like they're going to spot him down at the 24-yard line, setting up 2nd down and 1.
Sean, it's interesting. Edgerton James just shifted out of the backfield, went over there, and Ryan Clement threw him a pass. They pick up 5 yards. The thing about Edgerton James is he's got the best hands on the Miami team, and with the wide receiving core being depleted as it is, he is effective when they do shift him out there and play him as a wideout.
The backups are all true freshmen. The wideout positions: Darrell Jones, Reggie Wayne, and Andre King. 2nd and 1. McMillan right back into the game after leaving for the shoulder injury. Has the first down to the 19-yard line. Paul Reynolds and Jeremy Scott made the tackle. Butch Davis has done a terrific job cleaning up the image of this Miami program. He's still disciplined, and the results are paying off.
This is Miami's power play that we talked about earlier in the telecast. The linemen to the right will all block down. They'll all block down. The guard will pull, the fullback will kick out, and the tailback will find daylight right in the defense there and press it up the field for positive yards.
1st and 10. McMillan trying to get outside, could not. He was tripped up from behind by Aubrey Battle, the junior from Poway, California, near San Diego. He had 5 tackles last week in the win against New Mexico State. Loss on the play, back behind the 20-yard line.
Aubrey Battle lined up right in the middle of the Arizona State defense, comes underneath the block, and then shows good quickness in recovering and changing direction. That's what you love in defensive linemen, when they can slant one way and come back the other.
2nd and 11, Joseph. And McMillan, the backfield. Nice job of sidestepping the rush, but then a bad pass by Clement. He was looking for Omar Roll near the goal line, and Courtney Jackson had the coverage. Incomplete.
Ryan Clement knows how to work a pocket. When a quarterback begins to feel the protection breaking down, he needs to find a little seam and step up in it. That's exactly what he does. He takes a little late shove there, a little late hit. Arizona State's got to be careful. That could be called by the referee.
Well, Butch Davis told Michelle Tafoya at halftime that he was frustrated by his team's inability to move the ball once they got into the red zone, and here they go again. 3rd down and 11 on the 20. 3 wide receivers. Here comes a blitz, and Clement is down way back at the 32. Jeremy Stott, the senior, with the sack for ASU.
Phil Snow, the defensive coordinator at Arizona State. Jeremy Stott comes from the inside of the Arizona State defense. He twists around and makes this play. The Miami offensive lineman just couldn't pick him up. You can watch number 92 right there. He's the guy that doesn't get picked up and makes the big sack, and he puts a lot of pressure on Miami's field goal team.
50-yard field goal try for Crosley. Missed from 45, made from 20. This would match his career long. He has the wind at his back. It is straight, it is long enough, it is good.
What a kick,
Crosley.
What a kick, Sean. Whoa.
A field goal battle. And Butch Davis of the Hurricanes now even. 6-6 the score.
Once a single library held the knowledge of the world.
Centuries later, data was still controlled by an elite few. Then Oracle freed everyone to work with databases. Today, Oracle is putting the knowledge of the world online.
It will forever change our markets and our culture.
Where do you learn about companies whose future is as limitless as our hunger to know? Exactly. NASDAQ.com.
The all-new Intrigue, a sophisticated twist on a sports sedan.
Somewhere between home white and road gray, there's chalk. Where chalk blends with clay, there's dust. And if you keep your eye dead center, where dust and ash converge, you'll strike an overpowering color called smoke. One of the colors between the colors created by Canon. Canon Laser Color. Its only competition is reality.
Can Cosby handle his daughter moving back, Griffin moving in, and a preschool opening next door? Find out on the season premiere of Cosby, CBS Monday.
Quincy Yancey is 6'8" for the Arizona State Sun Devils. He goes high in the air to try and get this field goal attempt by Andy Crossland. He's just a little bit short, but Arizona State uses that block extremely effectively. Last year they had 6 blocks on PAT or field goal attempts.
George Gaitan will kick off after the 50-yarder by Crossland. Art Keel, longtime offensive line coach, has his group around him. Short kickoff, and here comes J.R. Redmond from the 20. Straight up the middle, bounced off a couple of hits. And another fine play by Redmond. Excellent field position for the Devils. Beginning at their own 41. Tabakius Bonner made the tackle with help from Dwayne Starks. Today's NASDAQ Scholar Athlete of the game is Jeff Popovich, at whom you're looking. From the University of Miami, an Arizona native from Tucson. NASDAQ's commitment to the investment in our future is shown today by donating $1,000 to Miami's General Scholarship Foundation. Jeff is a 3.82 student in biomedical engineering. Turned down an appointment to the U.S. Air Force Academy to walk on and play football at the University of Miami.
Also scooped up a fumble versus Baylor last week for a 72-yard touchdown to put the game away.
Oh, a heavy hit. Martin lost his helmet and the ball, but they're ruling him down at the 46-yard line. Dennis Scott in on the tackle for Miami, and Martin de-helmeted by Scott, the senior from Miami, Florida, taking over that safety spot from Tremaine Mack, who's moved on to the NFL.
When you play safety at Miami, you're chosen for your run support as much as your pass defense. Dennis Scott there showing why you support the run like that when you play safety for the Hurricanes.
Miller wants his safeties to be more physical than they were in the opener against Baylor. There's a first down reception by Kenny Mitchell, the junior from Peoria, Arizona. He was a parade All-American in high school, tackled by Dwayne Starks.
What's going to happen here eventually, Sean, is that Arizona State is going to remember that Dennis Scott was up there making the tackle on that running play, and they're going to come back. Their coaches upstairs will see that, and they'll come back with a play-action pass, try to draw him up there again, and then beat him deep with a throw.
Early in the third quarter, 6-6 the score. ASU led 6-3 at halftime. Power running play, the trademark of the Sun Devils, and it's Mike Martin, tackled by Lawson and Lewis. I mentioned the injuries that Martin's had to overcome. The neck injury last year. He missed all of '94 with a knee injury. He's also had to overcome adversity in his personal life. His mother was killed 16 years ago under circumstances that Mike chooses to keep private. He really never knew his father. He was raised by a grandmother who has not seen him play, Josephine, but she's going to try to get to a game this year because, as she says, I hear he's pretty good. She doesn't like to fly from Dallas. That's the reason she hasn't seen him play yet.
Well, and you also think about the psychological trauma that he went through when he was in high school. As a junior, this guy was one of the most sought-after, highly thought-of high school players in the country. He gets hurt as a senior, and Arizona State, Oklahoma State, a few others are the only ones that continue to recruit him. So he goes...
Encroachment. Offense. 5 yards. Replay, second down.
He goes through the trauma of having everyone in the country wanting him to no one really virtually seeking his services very much, but he is a comeback kid in college football. He has a remarkable story.
And we're neck brace for 4 months. Had to sleep and shower in it. Redmond bounces off a couple of hits. Look at his power run down to the 40-yard line. And there's a flag down at the line of scrimmage. And an alarming number of holding penalties for these two teams. And this infraction will bring the Devils back.
This is going to be called against number 51, Gray Rugemer, the left tackle. He uses a technique that a lot of people teach in football. He uses a technique where he just pushes the Miami defensive man up the field with his left hand, but as he does, he clearly turned his shoulders and got him outside the framework. They nailed him for it.
Rugemer had been a center. He moved out to tackle to protect the backside of Brian Kealy, the quarterback, once Juan Roque graduated, went on to the NFL. He remained at center. Dan Gazzetto, the offensive coordinator, said he thought Rugemer would be the best center on the West Coast. I think he has a chance to be an outstanding tackle. Kealy looking all over the field, dumps it short. And minimal gain to Craig Spann, the senior from Phoenix, nicknamed C-Span. As you saw on his jersey, even though there's not another Span on the team, he wears the initial C. His nickname is C-Span. Wonder if he can get an endorsement deal when he's done with the NCAA, of course, for that cable network.
Craig Spann is an interesting story in himself. He lost several of his toes in a childhood fire. And here he is. He came to Arizona State as one of the fastest guys on the team, blew out a knee. He's rehabbed. Now he's one of the 5 or 10 fastest on the team.
3rd down and 15. Kealy with a lot of poise. That's short of the first down so far, and still short as Spann went down at the 42-yard line. He's 5 yards short of the first down. Nick Ward made the tackle, and the punting team comes on for Arizona State. Midway through the 3rd quarter, 6-6 the score. We expected that this would be nip and tuck all the way, and it appears that's what it will be. Here's Dwayne Starks at the 10-yard line. Starks, the fastest player on the Miami team. Timed at 4.24 in the 40. Movement along the line. Looked like the Hurricanes were offside. Williams hangs it up there. Can they down it before it goes in the end zone? No. That penalty of 5 yards is going to make it very close to a first down. They needed 5. It's 4th and 5, and it'll probably require a measurement.
Don't be surprised. Bruce Snyder will take this penalty and go for it on 4th down.
He might not even have to go for it if it is a first down. It's going to be very close with the 5-yard walk-off. It looked like it was Denny Fortney who jumped across the line of scrimmage for Miami.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. The penalty will result in a first down.
It is a first down.
Boy, what a call. Denny Fortney, number 99, violates the space that you have to have between the defensive line and the ball. He jumped a little bit early, and a costly penalty.
That's huge. Miami would have had the ball at its own 20. Now the drive continues for Arizona State with 6:53 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Miami hasn't had a lot of penalties today, but that one was costly.
6-6 the score. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. Redmond the lone back. They faked it to Redmond. They're going for it all. Mitchell is out there. It's underthrown and intercepted by Dwayne Starks. And he returns it to the 32-yard line. They had a touchdown. If Kealy had it up on that football, it looked like Mitchell had a step deep, but the throw was short, and Starks picked it off. 28 yards on the return.
Arizona State ran the play-action pass that I referred to earlier to get the safeties to bite. Kenny Mitchell ran right down the field. He beat Dwayne Starks initially, but as you pointed out, Sean, so correctly, the ball was clearly underthrown by Ryan Kealy. Starks comes out with a great interception for the Hurricanes.
He led their team in INTs last year with 3.
Ever think about taking the all-new Cutlass for a test drive on the inside? With leather trim, easy-to-reach controls, CD player, standard V6 power, and a price that's under $20,000. The only obstacles you'll think about are on the road. The all-new Cutlass, totally rethought.
There's no doubt about it. Solid antiperspirants are a great way to keep you dry. This leading clear won't keep you quite as dry, but it's clear. To get a better kind of dry, you need the best combination of both. That's new Sure Clear Dry. Sure Clear Dry is a whole new kind of antiperspirant, with a revolutionary new formula that gives you the outstanding dryness protection of a solid, yet it glides on this clear. We're sure it's a better way to be dry, but draw your own conclusions. New Sure Clear Dry. It's a sure way to be dry.
I predict on Tuesday the 17th, Flight 6 will be delayed, and my husband will get heartburn. On Saturday, my son Jeffrey will have diarrhea just as his train leaves for college.
Maybe you can't predict stomach problems, but you can always predict the right medicine. While some medicines relieve just a few stomach problems, only Pepto-Bismol relieves all 5.
On Sunday, his mother will serve linguine and indigestion. I predict relief.
Pepto-Bismol. 5 stomach problems, 1 medicine.
6-6 the score. Miami with the football after an interception by Dwayne Starks.
Whenever you have your safeties play up and run support like Miami does, you come back with a play action pass. They bite here on the run fake, and all of a sudden the corners are totally isolated one-on-one. However, Miami knows that. They put that stress on the corners, and they tell those corners, you've got to hold up to make this defense sound. And sure enough, Dwayne Starks comes up with a huge play for the Miami defense.
Second turnover by ASU, both in Miami territory. Miami has not turned it over this season. Swing pass, James broke through the tackle of Reynolds. Edgerrin James has a first down out near midfield at the 46-yard line. 14 yards on the gain for Edgerrin James.
Larry Coker, the offensive coordinator at Miami, said to us yesterday, I've got to get the ball in Edgerrin James's hands. I've got to find a way. I don't care if I throw it to him, hand it to him, but we've got to make sure he touches the ball enough to be effective in this game. And sure enough, he also, like J.R. Redmond, is considered to have the best hands on his team as well.
Larry Coker also told us an interesting tale about James, which was James went to him this summer and said, Coach, 15 carries a game. That's all I want. And Coach Coker said, well, what if we give you 25? James said, well, you don't want to do that, because if you give me 25, I might be in the NFL next year.
And you know what? He's right. He will be.
Edgerin's a sophomore, 19 years old. Aubrey Battle here just had a cramp. He went running off the field. More movement in the line. Again, it looked like Stott was offside. James trying to turn the corner and has no running room. He did well to get back across the line of scrimmage, but Jeremy Stott was clearly offside. There's Battle on the sideline. And we check in on the sideline with Michelle Tafoya.
All right, Sean, well, it's Ryan Clement's turn to try to do something offensively. He tells us he's been working with a sports psychologist from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dr. Kevin Elko, on maintaining a positive and calm attitude when he plays. Now, together, they've developed 3 phrases to help him out, and he repeats these during the game. Aggressive but calm. They react to you, you don't react to them, and keep the fire in your eyes but not in your belly. Now, before the game, Clement told me he added a 4th mantra for this game in particular, and that one is pride and poise, and he repeated it to me 2 or 3 times. Pride and poise, guys.
I think Butch Davis's mantra might be get it in the end zone. First down and 5. James running room outside. Edger and James with a first down. Down to the ASU 35-yard line. Stephen Trejo made a tackle that might have saved the touchdown.
Edger and James makes the Sun Devil defense miss. There are 2 defenders outside on this play that are unblocked. Right there, number 37, Paul Reynolds, the linebacker, misses the play. And then Thomas Simmons, number 9, comes up and also misses. Great backs make you miss on defense.
First and 10, 5:48 remaining third quarter, 6-6 the score. Movement again, but no flags this time, and the pass broken up. Good coverage by Juwan Cherry on Omar Roll at the 28-yard line. Moving along the line, but no flags. Ryan Riley appeared to be moving, but apparently he was not in the neutral zone.
Ryan Clement, he's a fox, this guy. He understands how to use his snap count. I've mentioned that several times today. I can't emphasize it enough. What he's done is he's disrupted the Arizona State defensive charge by those linemen. He's taking them back, and the coaches are getting mad at him, saying don't be offsides, and it takes away your aggression.
Running out of time on the play clock, some confusion. They get it snapped with 2 seconds. Second and 10, Clement, good fake, and it is off the hands of James and incomplete. At the 10-yard line, he had a step on the defender, but the throw was just a little bit too long for James, who got behind Philip Brown.
Edger and James shifts out to the outside. He runs a little stop and go. Right there, he ran a little stop route. Thomas Simmons bit on it. He's wide open down the sideline. Ryan Clement is going to see that pass all week long. Look at him. Stay calm and cool, just like the psychologist says.
Right, calm and positive. He feels he plays his best when he's in that frame of mind. Big play here, 3rd and 10 in a tie game in the third quarter. We're at the ASU 35. Some pressure, Clement over the middle, a little bit behind Omar Roll, and it was batted down by Jason Simmons. Clement wants to go for it, but he's not the head coach.
Jason Simmons makes an outstanding play coming over the back of Omar Roll. And you're right, Ryan Clement, he'd want to go for it every down that he could.
Well, let me ask you this. Why wouldn't you try a field goal? He just made one from 50. This would be 52 with the win.
I'm surprised that they're punting this ball.
That might be a great kick, and it might not be. It is a touchback. I don't understand that. He made the 50-yarder with room to spare. This would have been 2 yards longer.
Let me tell you his thinking, though. His thinking is, my defense is playing really well right now. I can go ahead. If I get the right kick from my punter, I'm going to back them up, give them real poor field position. They've got the wind in their face. I've got a chance to rely on my greatest strength, my defense, and win this defensive battle. However, what happens to you, Sean, is when you're a kicker, and there he is talking to him, don't make me look bad. If I'm going to make this decision as a head coach, you've got to be able to pooch the ball inside the 10-yard line. He hit it too far, and all of a sudden it looks like a bad decision.
You can understand, in a tight game like this, he wouldn't want to give ASU the ball with excellent field position. They start at the 20. Here comes Mike Martin. Close to a first down. We'll see where they spot it. Very nearly a 10-yard gain. Dwayne Starks made the tackle about a foot short of the first down.
Michael Martin hasn't been heard from today like J.R. Redmond has, but he can hurt your defense as well. He takes a straight-ahead handoff. It's better to run at the Miami defense than to try to run around it, and that's what Michael Martin did. He attacked it.
Mike Martin ahead for a first down. Out to the 32. Denny Fortney put the hit on him. And there are a couple of players slow to get up.
Eric Hand on the stop for the Canes. Official time on the field.
We'll wait and see if we can identify that injured player for Miami. Clock stop with 4:50 remaining in the third quarter. 6-6 the score again. We want to remind you about our big doubleheader next Saturday starting at noon Eastern time. But the #1 team of the country, Penn State, victorious today over Temple at Louisville. And then #4 Tennessee and #2 Florida. Tennessee just hasn't been able to get over that Florida hump early in the season. Kind of sets the tone for the season for these two teams, and is a huge game in the conference and nationally. That's next Saturday here on CBS Sports. Nate Webster, the injured player, a true freshman from Miami. First cousin of former Iowa State standout running back Troy Davis, now in the NFL. Back in a moment.
The all-new Intrigue, a sophisticated twist on a sports sedan.
Green Bay is a small town. When someone leaves here, it means something. It means the entire community's been diminished. It means an acquaintance, a neighbor, a friend has left your life forever. Most importantly, it means there's now some extra seats available for Sunday's game.
Well, it's awfully tough to get tickets to the Super Bowl champs. It's absolutely impossible with American Express. So bring your Visa card.
Go Packers.
The official card of the NFL.
The first 9 minutes will leave you breathless. The next 51 will blow you away. Brooklyn South premieres September 22nd.
Moments ago, Nate Webster helped to the Miami locker room. We'll get a report as soon as we can on his status. Ryan Kealy, a redshirt freshman quarterback from Phoenix, Arizona, played well today. One big mistake on the underthrown ball that resulted in interception when it looked like they'd get a touchdown. Kealy gave it to J.R. Redmond on 1st and 10 from the 32. And they moved it out to the 34. Denny Fortney made the tackle. Delightful to talk to Denny Fortney. Yesterday we had a session set up to chat with him at about 10 o'clock at the offices. His truck overheated on the way to the Miami football building, so he ran to a payphone on the side of the road and called us. That was very nice.
It was really nice of him. And Denny Fortney is a player who moved from inside to outside and prides himself on fourth quarter conditioning.
Long pass incomplete, looking for Kenny Mitchell, and excellent coverage that time by Starks.
Denny Fortney talked about how he has worked so hard to make himself a good player, and he said one of the things that's going to affect me is in the fourth quarter, if I'm playing at full speed, I think I'm in better condition than the guy I'm playing over, and I'm going to be able to wear him out when the game's on the line. Had a great game last week against Baylor.
From Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, near the Maryland border, grew up a big Penn State fan. On his recruiting visit to Penn State, he watched Penn State play Miami, and he said he was inspired by the way Miami played defense, decided then he wanted to go to Miami, and he was there on Penn State's dime. Kealy, a great catch. The ball thrown behind Kenny Mitchell, but the junior made a terrific reception to move the chains for the Sun Devils. 1st and 10 out of the 48-yard line.
23 to win starts, and number 59, Michael Smith.
13-yard gain on the catch by the former state high jump champion in Arizona. Mitchell jumped 6 feet 10 inches in high school. Redmond alone back, 2 tight ends into the ball game. Bates and Serpone are the tight ends, and it's Redmond off tackle into Miami territory and down near the 48-yard line.
Number 59.
Redmond had a huge game last weekend against New Mexico State, actually 2 weekends ago, when he had 176 yards rushing on just 10 carries, a touchdown run of 93 yards, the 5th longest in ASU history, and the longest since 1979. I was amazed to see who had that previous long run. Mark Malone.
On a quarterback scramble against man-to-man coverage, there was nobody left in the defense. They'd all run off against those wide receivers.
Malone with 98 yards for a touchdown against Utah State back in '79. Now doing a terrific job with his television career and one of the great quarterbacks in ASU history. Lawson and Sweeney combining on the tackle on J.R. Redmond. And it'll be 3rd down and about 4 for a first down. They're just inside the 46. They need to come up just shy of the 42, so it's a long 3.
Look for J.R. Redmond here, possibly on a swing pass. He's an outstanding receiver out of the backfield.
Still the 2 tight ends, 2 wideouts, and Redmond alone back. Kealy throws, caught! The tight end, Kendrick Bates, down the far sideline, inside the 20. Well, certainly the defense was focused on Redmond, and Bates, the tight end, snuck out for his first catch of the day, and Dennis Scott saved a touchdown for the Hurricanes. 28-yard game.
Kendrick Bates is the man in motion. He's the tight end man in motion. He's going to come across the formation. He's right there. He's going to run a little underneath route, just right underneath the linebackers, right in the open seam, and the linebackers overrun because they're pursuing, and then he turns it up the field. Kendrick Bates had only played 1 year of high school football before coming to ASU.
He's a sophomore from Ontario, California. 99% of this Arizona State team from either California or Arizona. Ryan Kealy has the Sun Devils on the move. 2:05 remaining 3rd quarter. 1st and 10 at the Miami 18. 6-6 the score. Neither team has scored a touchdown. Oh, Redmond level. He crashed into Damian Lewis. And he's living up to his advanced billing today. The redshirt freshman from Sulphur Springs, Texas.
Damian Lewis is able to get off blocks quickly. That's what makes him a dominant defensive lineman. He's blocked temporarily, sheds the offensive man, and comes into the backfield and makes another hit behind the line of scrimmage. His 3rd tackle for a loss today.
Blocked much too temporarily. Mike Martin takes the pitch, trying to get past. Up from the secondary to upend him was Nick Ward, the sophomore from Dallas, with help from Eugene Ridgely. Bill Miller, the defensive coordinator, said they want Ridgely to be more physical, more active, a better tackler, and he's been that today.
Well, he's gotten up there, supported the run. I think he heard the coach's call. Hey, get up into the run defense. Safeties at Miami play run defense. Bill Miller, the brains of the defensive staff of the University of Miami, really cordial to us yesterday in our visit.
3rd and long, 3rd down and 9. At the 17-yard line, the 11th play of the drive. Tie game late in the 3rd quarter. Kealy poised, dumps it off. Ricky Boyer down the sideline, touchdown! A minute 18 remaining in the 3rd quarter. That's the first touchdown of the game. Ricky Boyer. On the pass from Ryan Kealy. And it's a 6-point lead for ASU.
Ricky Boyer's nickname is the Rocket. He's only 5'8", but he is fast as he can be. He runs, again, a little underneath route, where he runs under the linebackers and outraces them, and then does a magnificent job staying in bounds, tight roping down the sideline.
Robert Neese has now made 71 extra points in a row. He's 97 out of 98 PATs for his career, and finally a touchdown. 17 yards. Kealy to Boyer, the junior from Compton, California. Ricky the Rocket.
Ricky came up yesterday and visited with us and said he was going to make a big play. He was real excited about the game. Ricky is the man in motion. He runs across the formation and then stops, starts up the field, and then underneath those linebackers, gets that ball, and all of a sudden the secondary had been cleared out. And what a job staying in bounds.
And Terry, I'm enormously impressed by Ryan Kealy. Playing in this stadium, So difficult for any opponent, but particularly for a redshirt freshman quarterback playing in his second game. Amazing performance.
Boy, he really has put on a show today. And the thing about it, when we watched him yesterday throw the ball, he doesn't have a cannon for an arm. I mean, the ball kind of, some people even say he pushes the ball, but he certainly is accurate. But what he does, he's cool in that pocket and seems to always get off the hook and find somebody to throw the ball to and make a play.
I think an example of how cool he is, that was the big story in their preseason camp at Camp-Att-Yds-TD-Int. Who would be the quarterback to replace the enormously popular Jake Plummer? Would it be Kealy? Would it be Steve Campbell? It was in the newspaper for weeks. The coaches decided that it would be Kealy. A couple of days, well, actually later that same day, he went home to do some laundry. He had been in the house for quite a while. His mom, Jan, said, so when do you think the coach is going to decide who the quarterback be? He said, he decided today. He told me it's me. Popovich had trouble with the kickoff and got it back at the 30-yard line. Popovich recovering his own fumble, and we check in with Michelle.
Well, you're looking at safety Damian Richardson on the ASU bench. He's being treated for cramps. Yesterday, the ASU training staff said they were not concerned about the humidity here in Miami. And yet today, a couple of players, Richardson and also offensive tackle Gray Rugemer, are being treated for cramps. They've been stiffening up in this humidity, even though the temperature has dropped from 105 down to 90 right now, guys.
Oh, cold front moving in. That was Nice who kicked off that time. Usually Marcus Williams kicks off. There is a flag before the ball is snapped. Play clock still at 5, so it's not too much time.
Sean, if Arizona State continues in the lead.
Breaking the huddle with 12 men. 5-yard penalty against the offense.
Wow.
Substitution problem for Miami.
Both teams sloppy today. Regardless of who wins, each coach is going to be upset about all these mistakes.
If Arizona State prevails in this game, a lot of attention is going to go back to that decision either to punt or kick the field goal that Butch Davis had to make a few moments ago.
Well, my point when I thought he should have gone for the field goal was he has the win here in the third quarter. You know, he might need a similar distance field goal in the fourth quarter and be trying it into the win. His kicker proved he could make that one. No big surprise, a flag down as the ball carrier goes down for no gain. Jeremy Stott, Albury battle with help from Pat Tillman, making the play on Daryl McMillan. Referee threw the flag right into the line of scrimmage.
Well, this right now is a very difficult situation for Miami. They get 12 guys on the field. They come back with a holding penalty. Everything's against them. What they've got to do is stay cool and calm. There's plenty of time in this football game for Miami to get control of it. It's just going to be a battle to the finish. This is going to be one of those defensive games that's going down to the wire.
Holding. Offense. Penalty refused. Results of the play, second down.
No gain on the play, so it'll be second down and 15. And balance day for McMillan, 53 yards rushing and receiving for the junior from Bradenton. His brother Duncan played at Harvard. James replaces McMillan. Joseph, the fullback, moved out of the formation. And the pass is out of bounds. Caught by Mondrell Fulcher, the number 2 tight end, but he was out of bounds on the far sideline. Thomas Simmons had the coverage.
Fulcher, number 18, has to be able to keep 1 foot in bounds. It's not a catch. His left foot was out of bounds, and his right foot dragged right across the white stripe there. It's a good call by the official. He was right there on it.
First foot has to be in bounds.
You know, Ryan Clement, in visiting with him yesterday, talked to us about how he really had confidence in Omar Roll, and then he wanted to work his tight ends. He likes Chris Jones and Montrell Fulcher and Daniel Franks. He likes those guys. It's unusual a quarterback goes to tight ends.
He's going very deep, and it is nearly intercepted through the hands of Courtney Jackson. Might be better off for ASU that Jackson didn't catch that. They might fare better in field position with the ensuing punt. Magic Benton was the intended receiver. 44 seconds left in the third quarter, and Arizona State is going to get the ball back, leading by a touchdown. Ryan Clement is 0 for his last 5. And here's Crosland punting with the breeze. They did not come after him. Pretty good punt, fair catch called for, and bobbled then made by Redmond. Redmond took one step and then realized he had signaled for a fair catch. 48-yard punt with the win and no return. You joined us late. Arizona State scored first in the second quarter on a field goal by Robert Neese of 34 yards. And Andy Crosland tied it at 3 with a 20-yard field goal. And then Neese a 33-yarder to make it 6-3, and that was the score at halftime. In the third quarter, Crosland matching his career long with a 50-yard field goal. And moments ago, the first touchdown of this game, Ricky Boyer, a 17-yard pass from Kealy. On first down, it's Redmond. Check that, Mike Martin. Up the middle, across the 40-yard line. And that might be the last play of the quarter. They do not have to run another play. Nate Webster, who went immediately to the Miami locker room, left with a dislocated left elbow, and he is out for the remainder of the game. He's a backup middle linebacker. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. Arizona State 13 and Miami 6. We'll return to the Orange Bowl right after this message and a word from your local station.
These two professionals are going to take this all-new Cutlass for the most grueling test drive we could think of on an LA freeway. Well, with a CD player, easy-to-reach cup holders, leather-trimmed interior, and powerful V6, this Cutlass passes quite nicely. The all-new Cutlass, totally rethought.
Did you know every day your eyes are being bombarded by harmful UV rays? That's why AccuView contact lenses are introducing UV protection. Now AccuView gives you the comfort of fresh new lenses that block up to 95% of harmful UVB rays. It's the only leading brand that does. Ask your doctor for a free trial pair and see why more eyes trust AccuView.
Why would you wear anything else?
The address is CBS. Welcome home.
It wasn't my fault. There was this deer.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
No problem.
You get hungry putting out fires?
Yeah.
I got a great burger for you. The Sourdough Jack. 2 crunchy slices of grilled sourdough with a big juicy cheeseburger and bacon. Very unique. I work for the guy who makes it.
Sourdough Jack, huh? Thanks for the tip.
Hey, wait. Seeing as the car's totaled, could I ask you a favor?
Sure.
If you're just starting out or on your way, run a small business or manage a big one. If you're young or not so young, a broker, a parent, Delta Dental gives you a lot to smile about. No ridiculous paperwork. Checkups and cleanings are covered. And 8 out of 10 dentists in Arizona belong. Smile. You're on Delta Dental.
No matter how slippery it gets, you gotta stay in control. Now during the Chevy Big Value, Big Savings event, you can get 2.9 APR financing or cash back on a roomy Chevy Blazer. Blazer helps give you driver control on most any road surface. And that's a little security in an insecure world. There's great offers on other cars and trucks too. There'll never be a better time to get a 97 Chevy than during the Chevy Big Value, Big Savings event.
$1,500 cash back on Blazer at your local Arizona Chevy dealer.
The Arizona Republic High School Sports Week, Saturdays at 5 on Arizona 5.
NASDAQ College Football on CBS is sponsored by the NASDAQ Stock Market. Pringles, so fresh, once you pop, you can't stop. And by Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile retailers.
Back in Miami on this warm and humid afternoon, Sean McDonough with Terry Donahue and Michelle Tafoya. Arizona State out to prove that last year was not a fluke. Leads Miami by a touchdown. First play of the fourth quarter goes to Mike Martin on 2nd and 5. He's in the line for 3. Tackled by Adrian Wilson. Back up left tackle. He's a true freshman from Jacksonville, Arkansas. depth a concern for Miami? They're down 18 scholarships from other Division I-A programs because of sanctions imposed by the NCAA a couple of years ago. So as a result, 17 freshmen played last week at Baylor, 10 of them true freshmen.
Now, there's no question that Miami has a depth problem, but they're used to this humidity. They're in good condition. I don't think it's going to be a factor in this game late.
Of course, Arizona State knows a little something about heat as well. Putting the heat on the defense is Mike Martin. First down, Sun Devils at the 40-yard line. Dennis Scott saved the touchdown. That's a 23-yard pickup for Martin.
Jeff Polk, the fullback who's returned to the Arizona State defense this week, he is the lead blocker on this particular play. He helped spring Michael Martin there for the big gain. His return has given them an opportunity to play smash mouth football, which is what Bruce Snyder loves to do.
Wide open in the flat was Kenny Mitchell. Kealy hit him on the numbers, and that's a first down, a gain of 11 to the 29-yard line. Mitchell had just one reception in the opener against New Mexico State. He's been much more active today.
Bruce Snyder talked to us yesterday about the fact he wanted to have a close game going into the fourth quarter. He likes defensive struggles. I've coached against him a lot of times in my career. He loves it when his team can start pounding on you and start beating you up in those trenches. That's his style.
And with Miami's struggle to score today, another score by ASU would be huge. Redmond, he looks fresh as a daisy as he goes inside the 25-yard line down to the 23. Damian Lewis having a tremendous game on defense for Miami, made the tackle. You can see why Damian was selected as the Big East Defensive Newcomer of the Year by the Sporting News in the preseason.
Sean, it's a little bit like we talked about at the beginning of the telecast. They have a tandem at tailback. First you get Martin, then you get Redmond, then you get Martin, then you get Redmond, and they start pounding on you and beating away at you, and you got to be able to hold up defensively.
The Sun Devils are on the move. 2nd and 4 at the Miami 23. Straight ahead, Redmond. Close to another first down inside the 20. You have to love the way he and Martin battle for every extra inch.
I love the way that J.R. Redmond attacks the line of scrimmage. He just flat gets it downhill. And as a coach, you love that in your running backs. You always say, get the ball downhill, downfield, and sure enough, he can do it.
Joseph Robert Redmond. How about UCLA? 45-3, and Purdue is still leading Notre Dame. And the subplot in that story, Jim Coletto, the former coach at Purdue, is now the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame. One of his former Purdue players said this week, Coach Coletto knows what it's like to lose in our stadium, and he's going to lose again this week.
Well, you know, I hate that when players come out and say that, because Jimmy Coletto is a friend of mine. I've worked with him. No one worked harder to try and build a program at Purdue than Jimmy Coletto did. But
maybe if he didn't have players like the guy who said it, he wouldn't have lost so many games.
That's right. You know, sometimes kids make ridiculous, stupid statements, and that's one of them.
Yep. And at the moment, though, they're backing it up. Polk and Martin in the backfield on 3rd and less than a yard, and Martin picks up the first down to the 16. Tackled by Derek Ham. Under 13 minutes remaining now. And Arizona State leads by a touchdown, and they're certainly within field goal range.
You want to know what it's like to play fullback? Watch number 44, Jeff Polk. He has to lead in there and does on the linebacker, Rod Mack. He won that war, pad on pad.
Polk at one time weighed 265 pounds. They thought he was too heavy. He was getting stress fractures in his feet. He's down to about 240 now. He gets the call, and he lost the football. And it's recovered by Randy Leaphart. The center in exactly the right spot. Polk had the ball knocked free. It went straight up in the air. And very fortunate was Jeff Polk that Leaphart, the center, was right there.
Well, those offensive linemen, they're anonymous. No one knows who they are when they're playing in these games, but certainly Randy Leaphart right there makes a huge play. Eugene Ridley, 29, is the man who ripped that ball out of his hands.
Redmond and Martin in the backfield. Holt went out. Throw to the end zone. Incomplete. Very tight coverage. As Spann came back out of the end zone to about the 3-yard line, and Dwayne Starks was the defender.
I like the call by Dan Cassetto, the offensive coordinator. They moved the quarterback, Ryan Kealy. He moves, gets away from any pressure that Miami might have thought about bringing up the middle. Consequently, he gets a clearer throwing lane. Just doesn't hit the pass, but it's a good call.
Third down and 7 from the Miami 13. And movement looked like Victor Leyva, the right guard, was off a fraction ahead of the snap. And that's a big penalty for Arizona State in this penalty-filled affair.
Prior to the snap. False start. Offense. 5 yards. Replay third down.
So for the second straight game, Arizona State has been called for 13 penalties. You can do that against New Mexico State. It doesn't help your cause when you're doing it against Miami.
I would look for a conservative call by Bruce Snyder here. Put the ball in perfect field goal position, kick the ball, try to go up 16-6, and rely on your defense. That's what I'm anticipating that he's going to do. But with Ryan Kealy, who knows?
The Sun Devils have an excellent field goal kicker. It is a short pass to Boyer. He has some running room, but can't get to the first down marker. He's out of bounds at the 10. So it'll be 4th down and 4, and here comes the field goal unit. Nice will try about a 27-yard field goal, but the bad part of that play is it put him on the hash mark. It will be a tough angle.
Well, Ryan Kealy threw a very safe pass. As you mentioned, it's a short pass. He didn't want to put the ball down the field and risk an interception, because right now, if they make this kick, the pressure all shifts to Miami.
He's 2 for 2 today, with a long of 34. He's 4 for 4 for the season. A 27-yarder. Kealy is the holder. Miami great at blocking kicks under Coach Davis. They don't get a piece of that one, and the kick is right down the middle. Robert Neese, the senior from Bakersfield, California, has given Arizona State a 10-point lead in the 4th quarter.
I like being in control. With this new Dinerex, I control the cause of my dandruff every day.
New Dinerex Advanced Formula. Its medicine doesn't just treat the symptoms, it controls a leading cause of dandruff called Peel Valley.
Now that's serious control.
New Dinerex Advanced Formula.
Meet Sean Graham, veteran stuntman. This is how he lives. This is what he drives. What else would he drive? Chevy S10, like a rock.
Troy Aikman is back to pass. He's looking, look out. Oh, Aikman goes down.
He had a man wide open. What was he thinking?
Brute, it's all part of the game.
All right, guys, same play.
When we decided to have a baby, we knew we had to stop smoking first.
We had the motivation. We needed the help.
We chose Nicorette gum because it was flexible. It gave us the choice of 2 strengths, one for light smokers, me.
One for heavy smokers, me.
And the power to decide, how much to use and when to use it to fight our cravings.
We've been officially smoke-free for a year now.
And in gratitude, we're thinking of calling the baby Nicorette. It's a joke, honey.
Nicorette gum will help you quit smoking successfully by helping you control your cravings. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
Get the story on your favorite players and teams fast. Exclusive columns by top writers. Detailed stats and interviews on the net. CBS.sportsline.com.
An exciting game in our season premiere of college football on CBS. And tonight on CBS starts with Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, and its early edition, followed by Walker, Texas Ranger. That's all tonight, right here on CBS. The very tired-looking Miami defense that gathered on the sideline. Robert Neese has taken over the kickoff chores. I don't think Coach Snyder liked the kickoff out of bounds by Williams earlier. Williams did that last last week as well. That's a good kick with the breeze. Trent Jones, the senior, up the near sideline. And he's bounced out of bounds at the 27. A 24-yard kickoff return. A lot of work to do for the Hurricane offense.
This is an important drive by Miami. They've got to get something going here in the second half. Ryan Clement has got to get on track. He's got to start finding some of those wide receivers and tight ends. They can't play conservatively at this point in time and dominate the line of scrimmage. They're going to mix run and pass, but Ryan Clement's arm has got to bring him back into this game.
Well, we talked about Clement at the top of the telecast trying to take his place alongside the great quarterbacks like Kozar and Testaverde and Erickson and Walsh and Kelly. And these are the kind of games he has to win if he's going to be remembered in that regard. He's off on the right track with a completion to Darrell Jones for a first down. Here's Michelle.
All right, guys. Well, he also needs some help, Ryan Clement does, from his offensive line. After ASU kicked that last field goal, Miami quarterback Ryan Clement came over to his offensive line on the bench and shouted, "This is when we find out if we're champions or not. Let's get it done, guys."
Michelle, he's a great leader. Ryan Clement, one thing about him, he's respected by his teammates for his performance against West Virginia last year with that dislocated shoulder. They know he's a tough guy.
And the pass is caught short of a first down. Out of bounds goes Omar Roll. As a matter of fact, Omar Roll says Clement is the toughest quarterback in America.
He has great respect, and he can go over and talk to those offensive linemen in that way, and they'll respond to him because of the leadership role that he does play at the University of Miami.
Well, a couple of the players said he played the whole game against West Virginia last year up in Morgantown when most players wouldn't have even gotten on the airplane to make the trip. He was in that much pain with a separated shoulder. And James in trouble and down. Terrific defensive play by Aubrey Battle. On second and short, he forces a third and long. That's a play back to the 43-yard line of Miami. And an injury timeout.
Aubrey Battle is an interior player for Arizona State. He comes around on a stunt that allows him to make this play. The inside, the defensive end went inside. He came around outside, makes a big play for the Arizona State defense.
And he was injured on the play.
Fans, be sure to tune in to Hurricane Hotline each Thursday night from 6 until 8 on 940 Winds, WEAT Palm Beach, and WFTL Fort Lauderdale. Hurricane Hotline is broadcast live from the Longhorn Steakhouse on Northwest 87th Avenue.
Battle of defensive linemen every week. The day before the game when they're on the road going through their walkthrough, Coach Snyder has a competition between the offensive linemen and the defensive linemen. Yesterday's contest was to throw a ball between the field goal net and the cable, holding it up. There wasn't much of a space. Ray Rugemer was the only offensive player to accomplish that. It looked like the offense would win. But Aubrey Battle, one of the last defensive linemen, just did get it through. They had to wait for the signal. It's good. It came out a tie. First time they've ever had a tie in one of those contests. So the whole team got milkshakes.
Arizona State came into this game very confident and very loose.
They've had the field goal kicking contest and ball rolling contest. Clement in the grass, throws it incomplete. He did well to get that off. Jeremy Stott had him wrapped up. And Miami has forced the punt with time now a factor, 10:36 remaining, and the punt will be into the wind.
Miami is 1 for 9 on third down conversions. 1 for 9. You can't keep your offense moving when you can't convert on third down. That's one of the real difficulties that they've had today offensively.
Crosland punting into the wind now, and J.R. Redmond is standing at his own 18. Low wobbly kick, nearly hit an Arizona State player. Fortunately for the Devils, it did not. It takes a good roll for Miami down near the 15-yard line. McMillan downed it. 43-yard punt. ASU back on offense, leading by 10.
Thanks for the truck, Dad.
What'd you do?
Not much.
Where'd you go?
Kurtz?
You still talking about moving that old barn?
lasting trucks on the road.
The sun is rising, see it shine. A new day rising, see it shine.
It's a new day with new improved Transitions lenses. Outdoors, they get darker faster. Indoors, clearer. And Transitions lenses are thinner and more comfortable than regular glass or plastic lenses, so you feel and look better.
It's a new day.
It's a new day in eye care with Transitions lenses.
A company most people never heard of is changing the way we fight cancer and kidney failure. By inducing the body to produce blood cells, chemotherapy and anemia patients are gaining new strength. Helping to grow blood cells helped Amgen become the world's largest independent biotech company. Where do you learn about companies with such pioneering spirit? Exactly. NASDAQ.com.
On CBS Sunday, it's a Seinfeld doubleheader. First, with Steve Croft on 60 Minutes.
60 swinging minutes.
Then again on the Emmys. How lucky can one network get?
Miami in serious danger of losing its first home opener since 1985. Down by 10 with 10:24 remaining. And Arizona State has the ball first and 10 at its own 16. Sun Devils offense starting to get on track.
Teams are coming into the Orange Bowl knowing that home field dominance is gone. Miami's not the same as Miami of old.
They've lost the Orange Bowl mystique, that's for certain. Marlon Farlow, the third tailback, got the carry, and Rod Mack made the tackle. Last loss in a home opener here at the Orange Bowl for the Canes, 1985, when Florida came here and defeated them 35-23. And now under 10 minutes remaining. Mike Martin back in a tailback behind Jeff Polk. Martin ran into his own blocker, then got driven back short of a first down. Miami really needs 3 plays and out here. Ridgely and Scott, the safeties, up to help against the run.
Boy, that was good tackling by that Miami defense. I know they're getting a little tired, but those safeties came up there and hammered Michael Martin that time. That's the way you need to get up there and run support if you're going to get this Arizona State offense stopped. How big is this third down?
Huge play. Miami needs 2 scores, so they need to get it back quickly. And they need to get that tiring defense off the field. From the 23.
Miami's coming on the blitz.
And Kealy sidestepped it, and he runs for a first down. Well, if Arizona State fans had any concerns about their quarterback after the opener against New Mexico State, they shouldn't have those concerns now.
Michael Lawson made a great pass rush move. He broke through the Arizona State offensive line. He just misses the tackle on Ryan Kealy. A quarterback who can improvise, can get you off the hook when everything breaks down, is invaluable to your team.
Now J.R. Redmond, some gaping holes to run through. Starks takes the stiff arm, and Starks knocks him out of bounds inside the 20-yard line at the 16. 50-yard gain for J.R. Redmond.
Watch the fullback, Jeff Polk, number 44. He's the lead blocker. He makes a crushing block on Dennis Scott right there that allows J.R. Redmond to hit that seam and break that long run.
9 carries for 94 yards for Redmond.
The tandem tailbacks, Michael Martin, J.R. Redmond, are just too much for Miami.
And worn out this Hurricane defense. And a fumble! Just what Miami needed. Ward with only Kealy to beat. Nick Ward! Maybe the Orange Bowl mystique is back. Touchdown, Miami!
Unbelievable!
a rare fumble, just the second fumble on a rushing play by Arizona State since the start of the 1995 season. That's more than 1,100 rushing attempts. And it's a game, a 3-point game if they can add the extra point. Ward, 85 yards. He's a sophomore from Dallas. High snap, great job by Popovich, and the kick is blocked. And now the Sun Devils are trying to return it. And they will not.
What a huge block. You have a chance to get the game 13-16. You get a block, now you need the touchdown. What a huge block.
Quincy Yancey, who we mentioned earlier at 6'8", is their designated kick blocker. The snap threw the whole thing off. Popovich did a great job to get it down.
Yancey goes high in the air. He's put in there for that reason, and he gets that hand on the ball. That's why they put him in the game, and he delivers.
Well, that's a huge play because now a field goal could not tie the game for Miami. They're going to need another touchdown or 2 field goals in the last 8:23.
Michael Lawson, number 97, is the man that gets in and strips the ball from Michael Martin, and it's picked up by Nick Ward, and off to the races he goes. Beats one man, and it's a touchdown, Miami. What a tragedy, the extra point.
Yeah, that really hurts them, but the crowd is still rocking. We talked with Bruce Snyder the other day about the lack of fumbles by Arizona State. Only one since the start of the 1995 season on a rushing play. Before that fumble by Martin, he said, we really don't do anything special. It's just an attitude we've taken on. And he told the story about the other day in practice. Coach Snyder was standing in the back of the secondary as they were running some plays. Martin came running by him. Coach Snyder reached over, tried to surprise him, tried to rip the ball away, and he couldn't get it away from Mike Martin. And Mike Martin turned to him and said, Coach, we don't fumble around here. How you know, Coach Snyder wishes that was still true.
It's interesting how you build that tradition on a team or in a program, and that's exactly what Bruce Snyder had built in the running backs. He coached running backs in pro football for the Los Angeles Rams. He's been around those backs a long time. That took his heart out, that play right there. That was tough.
They had the game won. Now they're in a battle. J.R. Redmond drives off Dan Morgan. He ran over number 44 Morgan and was knocked down by Marquise Fitzgerald after a return of 27 at the 32-yard line. More than 42,000 fans here at the Orange Bowl. Attendance has dropped off in recent years as the record has not been quite as good. But they're making a lot of noise for Butch Davis and the Hurricanes after the 85-yard fumble return by Nick Ward. J.R. Redmond a little bit wobbly as he gets up from that kickoff return. 42,219. Ball spotted at the 33. And now the poise of Ryan Kealy will be tested. 8:12 remaining, a 4-point lead for the Sun Devils. And the defense perhaps rejuvenated by the turnover. Stops Marlon Farlow. After a gain to the 35, Michael Lawson and Jeffrey Taylor made the tackle. Arizona State scored first in the second quarter on a field goal by Nice. Crosland tied it with his first field goal. Arizona State led at the half after the 33-yarder by Nice. Miami tied it on a 50-yarder by Crosland, and the first touchdown of the game of the third quarter, 17-yard pass to Boyer from Kealy. The field goal made it 16-6. It looked like they would score again, but then the fumble returned by Ward. Kealy deep down the middle, caught by Mitchell. Huge throw by Ryan Kealy, and Mitchell having a defining afternoon. He's down to the 25. That's a gain of 40. Dennis Scott made the tackle. Well, Jake Plummer didn't win the Heisman Trophy as a senior. Maybe Kealy will be a candidate as a redshirt freshman with the day he's having.
Kenny Mitchell lines up in the slot and just runs a post right down the middle of the secondary of Miami. The ball is perfectly thrown by Ryan Kealy. Never a bigger play in that young man's life than that one.
4 catches for 70 yards from Mitchell. They're at the 25 of Miami. 7 minutes remaining. Farlow nearly got decapitated by Damian Lewis. Marlon Farlow, the third string tailback, getting a couple of carries here since Redmond has not returned after the kickoff. Marlon's a junior from Rialto, California.
The defensive line at Miami has really risen here in the fourth quarter. They're getting off blocks. They're making plays.
Whoa.
That's the tradition here at Miami. The defensive linemen, they dominate.
6.5 minutes remaining. Each team with all 3 timeouts.
Miami's just got to give up a field goal in this case. They don't want to give up that touchdown.
Kealy flushed from the pocket, throws on the run, nearly caught off the fingertips of Craig Spann near the back of the end zone. Kealy's throw on the run just a little bit too high for Spann at 6 feet tall.
Ryan Kealy would have been able probably to run at least for the first down, maybe for the touchdown on this particular play. He's going to want that one back.
Snyder could see that Spann was open. The throw is just a little bit high. 3rd down, a long 9. Martin alone back. 3 wide receivers into the game. Conservative play that might work. Martin very close to a first down. He needed to get to the 15. It looks like he's a yard shy. A field goal makes it a 7-point game. And the field goal is a fairly safe bet with Nice from this distance. Bruce Snyder wants to know what the situation is. He might be going for the first down on 4th and 1.
I think Bruce Snyder right here, he's stepping it up and saying, we can't give Miami back the ball with all this momentum. We've got to be able to make 1 yard when the game's on the line.
They give it to Martin. He has the first down. Huge gamble by Coach Snyder. And Martin following the block of the great fullback, or at ASU they're called flybacks, Jeffrey Polk. And it's a first down and 10 at the 11-yard line.
Arizona State has done this all day long. They've run right at the Miami defense, and sure enough, they're able, with following Jeff Polk, great block there. The back, Michael Martin, falls forward for the critical first down. You talk about a big call. That was a big call by Bruce Snyder. That took guts.
Yes, it did. Field goal seemed pretty safe with a great kicker like Nice. Redmond back on the field now, and he jets inside the 10, down to the 7-yard line. Eugene Ridgely made the first hit. Nate Brooks helped out on the tackle.
One of the things that's in your mind as a coach right now, if you're Miami, you're thinking, I've got 3 timeouts left. Do I use one to rest my defense? How tired are they? Do I need to do that? Offensively, you're sitting there saying, hey, do we have them on the ropes, or do I need rest? You got to make those evaluations from the sideline. They're hard to make.
And if you're Butch Davis, you're also thinking, well, they just gave us their 1 fumble. That happens every 1.5 or 2 years or so. Kealy, like a veteran, using plenty of time on the play clock. 2nd and 6. Redmond to the outside, puts his head down. He's close to a first down. They needed to reach the 1 for a first down, and he's down at the 1-yard line.
That particular play, Sean, that is a favorite play of Arizona State. It's not worked all day long. Miami has shut it down time after time with penetration. But this particular time, Arizona State got their bread and butter play going, the counter play, and sure enough, they worked for positive yardage and punished the defense.
It is a first down inside the 1, 1st and goal. Butch Davis wants a timeout. His team did not see that signal. Kealy fell down on the handoff, but got it to Redmond, who scores a touchdown. Looked like the Miami coaches were signaling for a timeout on the near sideline, but that was not detected by the players. And a huge touchdown for J.R. Redmond, who's up over 100 yards for the day now.
Ryan Kealy got stepped on by the offensive lineman, either Randy Leppert, the center, or Kyle Murphy, the left guard, but he did an excellent job extending that ball out and getting it to the running back without an exchange problem.
Coach Snyder told us this week, the one thing I knew about last year's team, and a big part of the success, was that team would respond positively to adversity. Every time they were tested or challenged in a tough spot, they responded. He said, I don't know that about this year's team yet. He probably does now.
Well, he has to be pleased with the way his team has come back all day long. They came in here quite confident, not cocky, but very confident. They were 11-1 last year. They thought that, hey, we lost a great class. A bunch of guys went into the NFL. We lost Jake Plummer, but we've got some really good players left, and we can be successful. And they've proven it today against a good, solid Miami team. This isn't a great Miami team, but it's a solid one.
Get the sense that this Miami team really misses Jamie German, the wide receiver we talked about, becoming eligible for the year by the NCAA. They don't really have a big play threat. It is reliable on the outside. The extra point is good. It's an 11-point game. And 3:52 remaining. You can see they're trying to call a timeout before that touchdown run by Redmond, but it was not spotted by the Miami players.
I know a place.
Americans love to win. We like our ribbons blue, our medals gold, our places first, and our balls spiked. Heck, we got a competition for everything. There's even one for cars. It's called Motor Trend's 1997 Car of the Year Award. Who won it this year? We did. See? It's the car you knew America could build. The brand new Chevy Malibu. Somewhere between steel strings and skins, there's brass. Over brass and ivory lingers a cinder gray haze. And when that ensemble comes together in perfect harmony, they make up a color called blues. One of the colors between the colors created by Canon. Canon Laser Color. Its only competition is reality.
I have a lot of fun playing characters that are impulsive and dramatic, because the real me is pretty basic. I'm even a little practical. Like a while back, I noticed I had some flakes. So naturally, I started using Head & Shoulders. Of course, it helps keep the flakes away. And if it leaves my hair looking like this, why mess with a good thing?
Head & Shoulders changes dandruff problems
Into beautiful hair.
Get ready for comedy straight from the heart.
Spending a lot of money is not the way to win a girl's heart.
So you're saying go with something cheap?
The Gregory Hines Show premieres CBS Monday.
Butch Davis and the Miami coaches desperately trying to call timeout. They've only got 10 guys on the field at the time of the touchdown. But more importantly, watch Ryan Kealy as he gets stepped on. He goes to hand off. Watch his knee. He is down. The ball should have been down. It should not have been a touchdown.
That should have been spotted back at the 3-yard line. We welcome those of you who've been watching South Carolina and Georgia. Sean McDonough with Terry Donahue and Michelle Tafoya at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Georgia winning for Coach Jim Donnan today. And here was a field goal battle in the first half. 6-3 Arizona State at halftime. The game has opened up here in the second half. And Arizona State has responded. They had a 16-6 lead moments ago, and they were driving for a score when Mike Martin fumbled and Nate Ward returned it 85 yards for a Miami touchdown to make it 16-12. Miami had some momentum, even though the extra point attempt was blocked. But Arizona State responded to that adversity with a 67-yard drive in 9 plays. And the touchdown, J.R. Redmond, who's now rushed for 105 yards today. So Ryan Clement needs to score, and he needs to score quickly. Edgerrin James, some nice moves in the open field. And James is out to the 42. They'll stop the clock to move the chains with 3:38 left, a 22-yard gain. And it looks like another cramp for an Arizona State defender. That's happening with regularity on this very warm and humid day. And it's Aubrey Battle that cramping problems earlier. Last year, an early season win over Nebraska was the springboard for Arizona State to its incredible season, very nearly a national championship season. They have a tough game back at home next Saturday night. Frank Cush Field at Sun Devil Stadium against BYU. Then they move into the conference schedule at Oregon State, at Washington, the preseason pick to win the Pac-10. Then home for USC, at Stanford, Washington State, at Cal, Oregon, and they'll close out with their rival Arizona. Arizona State picked to finish 5th in the Pac-10 in the preseason media poll, behind Washington, Stanford, USC, and UCLA.
Oh, those preseason polls, they don't mean anything, Sean. You don't pay any attention to those when you're playing or coaching. Believe me, it's the poll at the end of the race that you worry about or look at.
I think it's obvious that a lot of people underestimated the talent that Arizona State had coming back from that team of a year ago. They lost a lot of talent, 8 players drafted, several others signing as free agents with NFL teams, but they have a terrific nucleus back. Battle helped off the field.
And Coach Snyder doesn't think that this team will necessarily go 11-1 like last year's team did, but he thinks they're going to be very good. And he said, hey, a year from now, watch out, because we're going to be back in the Rose Bowl.
He wants to prove that they have established a program. It seems that they're on their way to doing that. First and 10. Clement throwing downfield, and that is caught by the true freshman Reggie Wayne. And they'll go without a huddle. He's in ASU territory at the 44-yard line. All 3 timeouts left for Miami. 3:29 left in the game. Gain of 14 on the pass play to Wayne. Caught 50 balls as a senior in high school last year in Marrero, Louisiana, out of the same high school as Cordell Stewart. Sacked is Clement. The second time he's been thrown down by the defense today. Jeremy Stott, proving that he is, as Coach Snyder says, an emerging player in the Pac-10.
Jeremy Stott has been drawn offside several times today. However, on this particular play, he gets a great jump and just drives his shoulder pads with great leverage underneath the offensive player for the sack.
Timeout Miami, back in a moment.
Got yourself a sport unit, huh? Yes, sirree. Very nice. I see you got all your finer amenities. Leather trim seats, compact disc unit, power windows. Power everything. You're lucky. Not everyone can afford the Lobster. Must have set you back a bit. Am I right? Huh?
Actually, right now, you can get a great lease on a well-equipped Bravada, just $359 a month. Or if you prefer to buy, you'll get $2,000 cash back.
And again, I suppose you could lease one.
Once a single library held the knowledge of the world. Centuries later, data was still controlled by an elite few. Then Oracle freed everyone to work with databases. Today, Oracle is putting the knowledge of the world online.
It will forever change our markets and our culture.
Where do you learn about companies whose future is as limitless as our hunger to know? Exactly. NASDAQ.com.
Back in Miami, after a defensive struggle, all field goals in the first half. Some scoring here in the second half of touchdowns, although the Miami touchdown was scored by the defense. The Miami offense has not put it in the end zone today, after the Canes scored 45 points in the season opener at Baylor 2 weeks ago. Disappointing day for Ryan Clement. On second and long, he's in trouble, throws on the move, and it is almost a diving catch by Roll. On Sunday night, we hope you'll join host Bryant Gumbel for the 49th annual Primetime Emmy Awards. Emmy Award nominees Roma Downey and Della Reese will be among presenters, as well as Candace Bergen, Judd Hirsch, Bob Newhart, Adam Arkin, and Christine Lutty. That's Sunday night at 8 Eastern. The Emmy Awards right here on CBS.
When Miami looks back on this game, they're going to look at third down conversions as one of their real problems against Arizona State.
And this is a very tough third down to convert. They're 1 out of 9 on third down. The Sun Devils showing blitz. And they checked off to a blitz play, but that wasn't well read by the receiver, Reggie Wayne, and that's one of the problems of playing with a true freshman wideout.
That's exactly right. The chemistry, the timing, the eye contact between the quarterback and the receivers, that takes time and experience. Miami's going to have to come back, though, after this game and reevaluate. They're going to have to say, hey, we've got to figure out a way to get Ryan Clement better help out of those wide receivers. We don't have a big play guy right now other than either Dyro McMillan or Edgerrin James. Those are the two guys that really have made the big plays. The wideouts at Miami, traditionally great big play people, have not been that way.
Clement going very deep in a double coverage, and it is intercepted. Courtney Jackson running it out of the end zone. And he doesn't want to turn it over. He goes down to the 9-yard line. And Clement is down back at the 47-yard line. Courtney Jackson, the sophomore from DeSoto, Texas, with the interception. He was the player who had the coverage on Ohio State's game-winning touchdown in the Rose Bowl last year. He still has the picture from the Los Angeles Times the next day of him watching David Boston go into the end zone. He uses that picture as motivation.
Ryan Clement takes an unbelievably tough hit from Hamilton Meade, number 46. He really got rocked there. This ball, keep it in the end zone, son. Don't bring it out. Just stay in there. Be safe. Don't you dare come out. Finally, he realizes, get on down.
We'll just try to hang on to the football now. Mike Martin out to the 10. Miami does have 2 timeouts remaining. Remains to be seen if Butch Davis will use them.
Oh, my hamstring, both my calves, everything.
Tailback tandem outstanding today for Arizona State. And here's what the duo has done. Almost 100 yards for Martin, 95 yards rushing. Redmond 105 when you throw in the receiving and return yards. They've had a huge day.
I brought these ice back home to Coco.
Oh, hi, honey. Am I excited about Thursday? Of course, Thursday's our anniversary.
Thursday planned a trip.
Yeah, we're taking the Orient Express to Spot in Thailand for bird watching.
Love you too. Bye.
New Visa Platinum.
Did you go to Thailand?
With a world of purchase power for the unexpected, including that trip you never thought you'd take.
This was such a surprise.
Yeah.
New Visa Platinum. It's everywhere you want to be.
Somewhere between steel strings and skins, there's brass. Over brass and ivory lingers a cinder gray haze. And when that ensemble comes together in perfect harmony, they make up a color called blues. One of the colors between the colors created by Canon.
Back in Miami, the Sun Devils ready to go on second down. Mike Martin, the ball carrier, and Denny Fortney made the tackle. Down to 2:10 remaining, 1 timeout left. Miami's going to lose its home opener for the first time since 1985. Terry, it seemed like they had the kind of schedule that they could have been a contender for the national title had they been able to get past this hurdle. Their only other tough game between now and the end of the season, it would seem, is at Florida State. At least it seemed prior to today. Now you have to wonder how good Miami is. But they have West Virginia here at home. And we'll have that ball game here on CBS in 2 weeks. And the Mountaineers lost today at Boston College. The very tough game at Florida State, at Boston College. That might not be as easy as it once seemed after BC bounced back to give Tom O'Brien his first win as coach today. Temple here, Arkansas State here. Very tough game at Virginia Tech, but then Rutgers here, Syracuse here. I mean, when you look at that schedule as a coach at the start of the year, that isn't all that bad.
Well, you look at it and you figure I'm going to get my chances to win 8 or 9 games, but if I can get by 1 or 2 of these games, I might compete for the national championship. Miami desperately wants to do that. They want to get back to that national prominence. They need more big play people. They need them particularly at wide receiver to help the quarterback.
Well, we mentioned they're down 18 scholarships because of the sanctions. They'll use their last time out here. And then they're down more players than that because they had several leave early and go into the draft.
Oh, when you look at Teal Green going out and players that they've lost that have gone into the draft, and you figure that, as you mentioned, there are 18 scholarships off the 85 limit. Well, they're not a very deep football team, but they're well coached. Butch Davis has done a good job with this program. Miami is not very far from that national prominence that they so much desire. They're very close. It's going to be another year or two, another good recruiting class. They're going to be back. They're going to have a good season. Listen, got to give Arizona State some credit. That big old offensive line pounded on them, kept pounding on them. Arizona State came in here and said to the whole country, hey, we're better than you think we are, and they proved it today.
And what a day for the Pac-10. Not only this game, but UCLA going down to Austin and throttling Texas. After the game, our college football coverage rolls on with CBS Sportsline. You'll get scores, highlights, breaking news, plus individual team pages for all 112 Division 1A schools. Don't forget to cast your vote in our top 25 team fan poll. It's all at our cyberspace address, cbs.sportsline.com. Are you on the computer information superhighway?
You know, I don't know how to even plug it in. I don't even know how to plug them in. My daughters do. They're the ones that, if I need anything off the computer, I call one of them and say, hey, honey, help me out.
Miami lined up to try to block the punt. Got it. And it looked like they got a piece of it. They did. That's the signal given by the referee. Marcus Williams, the punter, is slow to get up. Actually, make that fight. It was Nate Brooks who almost blocked the punt, who was slow to get up. Dwayne Starks fielded it. And he's down at the 48-yard line. So a minute and 11 seconds remain. No timeouts for Miami, and they need 2 scores. And Nate Brooks very nearly blocked that one. He did get a piece of it.
He comes from the far left. He lays out beautifully for the ball, gets a piece of it, and really doesn't rough the kicker. The kicker was unharmed. He knew he almost had himself a touchdown block there. That was a great effort by Nate Brooks.
Well, he has a rap CD coming out. Maybe he'll sing a song about that near miss. Pass thrown in the slot to James Jackson. Scott Covington is in at quarterback. Jackson was out of bounds. Clement slow to get up after the last hit. So it's Covington at quarterback, the junior from Laguna Niguel, California, who saw some action last year when Clement was hurt. Matter of fact, he had a great game last year against Boston College. He passed for 295 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Was the Big East Player of the Week, that particular performance. He looked brilliant when he came in.
And he's the kind of guy you can put into the ball game and win games with. He is not a distant second teamer. 1 minute left. Covington has a man open down the middle. Omar roll. He may roll all the way. One man to beat, and that man took him down. It was Larry Johnson. He was able to knock him out of bounds, but there's another holding penalty on the play, and the 36-yard gain will come back.
Omar Roll ran right down the middle of the Arizona State defense, and Scott Covington did an excellent job putting the ball right where it needs to be caught when you're running down the middle of the field. You don't want the ball high. You don't want to stretch those receivers out, and then Omar Roll needs to just put that ball away and get down that sideline so he doesn't get stripped just like that once he makes a big play.
Covington saw some action in the win over Baylor 2 weeks ago in the season opener. There's 3 out of 6 in that ball game without a touchdown or an interception. Threw for 33 yards. Second and forever, and the pass is caught by Reggie Wayne, and he goes out of bounds at the 41-yard line. 43 seconds left. Arizona State leads by 11. Penn State, #1 victorious. Florida and Tennessee with a week off, getting ready for their big battle on CBS next week. Washington handled San Diego State with ease, and the same can be said for Florida State as it took on Maryland. We'll check the rest of the top 10 in a moment. Pass caught by Daniel Franks, the redshirt freshman from Big Springs, Texas. And he's down at the 27-yard line. Time is running out.
First and 10, Hurricane.
Remaining, the second half of the AP top 10. Nebraska had a real battle with Central Florida, which at one point led in that game 17-14. North Carolina battling Stanford today. Colorado lost at Ann Arbor to Michigan. Ohio State winning its in-state game with Bowling Green. Here's the other scores. Air Force just did eke out a win over UNLV. Covington's pass incomplete. Intended for Reggie Wayne.
This is not an insignificant drive for Miami. A lot of times, you know, you gain when you know your team's defeated, but you keep competing. That's important for coaches and players. It's important for Scott Covington. He's getting some quality reps. But more importantly, the Miami players and coaches can say, hey guys, we got whipped, but we never quit in the game. If you can put a touchdown here at the end too, you can build on that for future weeks.
On 2nd and 10, Covington to the end zone. Roll ran into a couple of defenders, did not see the ball coming. Stephen Trejo and Thomas Simmons provided the coverage. 11 seconds remaining. Well, this will be the 13th straight regular season win for Arizona State. Overall, they will have won 17 of their last 19 games. They haven't lost in the regular season since November of '95 when they lost to Arizona. Covington to Wayne. He's short of a first down, did not get out of bounds, and that will end the game. A great win for Arizona State.
That's the ball game. Final score, Sun Devils 23.
Now for Terry Donahue and Michelle Tafoya, I'm Sean McDonough saying so long from the Orange Bowl. The final score, Arizona State 23 and Miami 12. Next Saturday, CBS Sports NASDAQ College Football presents a national doubleheader as top-ranked Penn State takes on Louisville, followed by number 4 Tennessee against second-ranked Florida. It all kicks off at noon Eastern Time next Saturday. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports. So long from Miami.
Today, almost 700,000 people are celebrating